Let's give them a few minutes, Coach. Let's give them about a minute to get in here, Coach. You know we hadn't done one in a while, Coach. This is a special edition, special episode.
Yeah, man, it's tough when you lose your coach 2 weeks before opening season. But hey, look, I've been there, done that.
That one guy, he's here for the show. This guy right here, Sylvester's here for the show.
What is that?
Sylvester Williams, he's here for the show.
Oh, yeah, he here for it, ain't he? He bright and early, ain't he?
Yeah, no, because he reposted him, or he was on my Twitter side.
With no further ado, I'd like to welcome everybody to HBCU Coaches Corner. I'm your host, Rocky Miller, along with my co-host, the Rattler himself, Mr. Stephen Campbell. And for our featured host, the reason why it's named HBCU Coaches Corner, none other than the SWAC legend himself, Johnnie.
What up? How
you doing, Coach? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Coach, man. It's just a starting day for a show, and also a starting day for me actually going back to school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's an exciting time, to get back with the little ones and go through another year, and I look forward to that.
Absolutely. Well, this was a special edition, Coach. As you well know, there's been unfortunately, HBCU University this week lost their head coach due to resignation. Man, let me just properly report it. Is Toriano Morgan, the former head coach of Edward Waters, resigned on Tuesday, and fortunately, they had a person on staff that could immediately assume those duties as head coach, which is Coach Brian Jenkins. We had scheduled a couple interviews with Coach Jenkins, not too long ago, probably earlier in the year. And Coach Jenkins was supposed to sit down and have a conversation with us. And it was actually about another job that he was pursuing. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, Coach, he had been offered a job. And he had accepted. And for, whatever reason, he was asked to take his acceptance back so that they could restart or reinitiate the interview process. It was very, very peculiar situation. And during that time, you and I had a long conversation with Coach Jenkins, and he was able to voice his frustration with us, let us know how unfair he felt this particular process was. Also let us know that he believed that the reason why he was ultimately not hired was because of forces outside of the program, forces outside the program. And he was just really frustrated with the situation. We're going to have him on the show the next day. For whatever reason, he decided not to do the show without contacting us, didn't let us know he was not going to be on the show. I wish Coach Jenkins well. We hadn't had a conversation since. Luckily, he was able to retain his position at Edward Waters as offensive coordinator. And that's the position he had up until Tuesday. Isn't that right, Coach?
That's it, man. And, one thing, I got a personal relationship with Toriano Morgan as he played for me at Tennessee State. So I've been knowing him over 20 years, when he was a youngster, and followed his career. And, his career took him to high school down in Florida, Fort Lauderdale High School down there, where they won several state titles. And then he was went up there with Reggie Barlow at Virginia State. And, he's done some exceptional things, in his career. And so I was kind of surprised to see it, because I just talked to him about 2 weeks ago about how things are going, with the program and where he think they're going to be at. And he felt real good about the Edward Waters program. That's the one I was talking about, of how they're going to be. and talking with him yesterday in full length, and he kind of shared some things with us, and I'm just kind of surprised that I don't know if he's gonna come on or what was, but some of the things on how all that transpired, and we'll talk about that tonight. It's kind of a two-way four things. It's kind of put HBCU Coaches Corner in a pickle, but we're gonna come out fighting. We know how to do that, Coach Bishop, and for everybody to be okay and because people want to know. We got Edward Waters graduates, you got investors in this deal. You also got where he's going, which we know now we can make that announcement publicly that he's going to Tennessee State from there. He actually took the Tennessee State co-coordinator's job. Let me go get me some sugar. But no, and so hey, we take in the questions. There's some things that that we could talk about that we discussed with him, and and move on from there. So I was just as surprised as everybody else.
Coach, a couple of things that he conveyed to us, and because you guys have a personal relationship, I'll let you reveal whatever you deem appropriate. But you and I had a long conversation with him yesterday and discussed some of the details regarding the resignation. And if I mischaracterize it, Coach, please correct me. From what I understood, Coach, by talking directly with Coach Morgan, this was not a situation where he wanted to lead the program. He resigned, true enough. He admitted to us that he did resign, but it wasn't a situation where he wanted to lead the program. Am I characterizing that correctly?
Right. He had a personal issue, and he was handling a personal issue with his family. And he went there to handle the personal issue with his family. And he was kind of backed up in the corner because he was also contacted by Tennessee State. And by his of what he said was he was just letting his people know where he was and that he had been contacted by Tennessee State. And it came down to where it wasn't a concern about his personal issue. It was brought to our attention that they gave him 48 hours to make the decision whether he was going to stay as the head coach or go to Tennessee State. And I think that kind of made him feel some kind of way of, do y'all care about me, and my and what I'm going through, or do y'all just care about y'all having a head coach in that position? So I think that put him in between a rock and a hard place. And when I say they told him 48 hours, I don't, I'm not privileged to give that information, but it was passed down, and unfortunately for Edward Waters, that they lose their head coach, 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before they were supposed to show up for the football program.
Now, Steve, let me ask you, because I want to get your opinion. This is your first time hearing these circumstances, Coach. And I want to just get your impression, because I know what my initial impression was when Coach Morgan shared that with us. So you're dealing with a personal issue, right? Tennessee State contacts you. Contractually, you have an obligation to contact the AD, which Edward Waters doesn't have an AD currently. Am I correct about that, Coach Cole?
Yeah,
they currently don't have an AD.
You're correct.
So they don't have an AD. So then he has to contact who I assume who is above the AD. I'm not sure who that is, but whoever above the AD is, he has to contact that person. That person's contacted, and just by saying, hey, I've been contacted by Tennessee State, you're given a 48-hour ultimatum. What is that saying to you? Just hearing that, Coach, Mr. Mr. Campbell, what is that saying to you initially? Like, you're just saying, hey, Coach Cole done called me. He done made contact with me. We didn't discuss any details, but I just wanted to let you know he contacted me. And my response is, you got to give me, tell me in 48 hours whether you're going to continue being on this show or not. Or if you don't come back to me in 48 hours, I'm going to let you go. What does that sound like to you?
Well, that sounds like business. And I'm going to be honest with you. And to me, I just got to look at it black and white. Because if I'm the AD, the president, and we realize we've already picked who's going to be preseason rankings at these schools. We're getting ready to get into fall camp with Coach, 2 weeks? Fall camp starts?
Yes, sir.
And all of a sudden you're going to leave? No, I need to know now. Because again, like I say, Bo Schembechler said it best. I want a Michigan man coaching Michigan. So if you don't want to be here at Aaron Waters, then let me go get a guy that wants to be here.
Coach, because I don't think the conversation was around whether or not he wanted to be there. He was just doing his due diligence to notify them that he'd been contacted.
Okay, to leave.
No. He'd been contacted by Tennessee State. That's all he was Coach. He was obligated to let them know that Tennessee State had contacted him.
Right. Okay, but what I'm saying is, okay, and Coach knows this. The only reason why you're telling me this because you might think that you want the job because he could have told Tennessee State they contact I'm good.
No, Coach. He has a contractual obligation that if he's contacted by a school, he has to notify Edward Waters.
Okay, right.
Well, I think again, if I'm, and this is just me, and I'm playing. I think I'm gonna play the bad guy.
Okay.
If I'm Edward Waters and you're calling me, telling me, to me, the conversation would have been like, hey, AD Miller, just letting you know, Tennessee State contacted me, but I just wanted you to know, I'm not interested in the job. But because of protocol, I just had to let you know that they called.
Yeah.
Now, did that conversation happen like that? Or did it just happen? Hey, I'm just letting you know that Tennessee State contacted me.
So this is let me kind of frame it up. I'm dealing with a personal issue. I get contacted. I can't discuss nothing with Tennessee State because I'm dealing with this personal issue. I let them know while dealing with this personal issue, I've been contacted.
Okay. But so what you're saying, Tennessee State, let's go to that. Let's take it one step at a time. Tennessee State, I have a personal issue. That means I'm going to get back with you once I resolve this. That's the inference, right?
It's in his contract that if anybody contacts you outside, I understand that. You are to come to us and say something.
Right. And then you guys said that Edward Waters gave him a 48-hour, right? And when you say 48 hours, is to leave or to make a decision?
To make a decision.
Yeah, to let them know.
Exactly. Yeah. I totally understand that. Football season about to start. I'm not going to let this drag on.
Right.
I can't.
Right.
There's no way that I'm going to let this drag on.
Right. Well, I think you're right, but it's a way to do that, because his personal issue was it in town? We need to meet. We need to sit down and meet in the next 48 hours. That don't mean as an institution I'm not making plans to replace it, but I would want to be sitting with my coach and ask him what is it? Is it what we doing here? Because I want to give the kids all the opportunity to have who they want as their coach. I just didn't think it should have been done over the phone. It shouldn't have been done without you having some conversation with a representative from the school. Besides, you let me know in 48 hours. Well, man, I'm dealing with a personal problem of a personal issue. So I hope that you would think of me more than that.
Well, see, Coach, I don't mean to cut you off, but you just answered. See, this right there lets me know what the relationship is right there.
Okay.
That says more about what the true relationship is.
Well, that's what we would. That's the way he felt.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Like, shit. They look, they got one hand in my back. You know what I mean? And all we needed was this other hand of what you talking about.
And on top of that, when you need somebody to stand in your absence, now I'll just say this: they have a medical situation going or an illness going where you can't contact them or meet with them. Somebody on your staff.
Right. Here's my thing, because I'm gonna talk from the coach's standpoint of view. You know, a lot of people get on coaches when they go jump from school to school and do what's best for their family. I very seldom hear when people jump on the school and about, man, why you firing this man? You know what I'm saying? Because you all know I was a winning coach and got let go. You know what I'm saying? And so why did not somebody at the school say, or somebody say, well, yeah, some things happen, but they're not life and death, and we just gonna throw this man out from winning. But when a coach jump, you know, and just like now all the players are getting paid and everything, all I used to hear was, oh, when a coach is getting paid, when a coach can jump from school to school to school. So now it's like the coach is at the bottom of the totem pole, but he's carrying all the weight. So a school can come right in there and just oust him. You know what I mean? That's why I think that there's some feelings involved, especially with this situation. But I think there should be some on both sides to be able to come to the table and either send him off with a contract or, you know, whatever, just to be able to talk to somebody instead of giving me 48 hours and make a decision.
So Mr. Campbell, again, if you contact me, if you're dealing with a personal issue and you say, Rock, I've been contacted by Scotty to be on off script, I'm just letting you know, because of the contractual obligation I have, after I finish this, dealing with this personal issue, I'll get back with you. And my response is, no, you tell me in 48 hours what you gonna do. Are you gonna go to off script or you gonna stay on HBCU Coaches Corner?
Well, see, this is what I keep hearing the problem. There's two separate things going on. And I think we're blending both when it should be separate. He has a personal issue, whatever that may be. He got contacted by Tennessee State. See, to me, the most important thing, the first discussion I'm having is about the personal issue. And that, hey, Rocky, my mother's sick. I'm going to need some time off. Okay, is that okay? Let me get that out the way. See, you've already given me my time off. Okay, if this is risen to the level that you're saying here, I'm going to address that first. Then, oh, by the way, I just want to let you, per my contract, I did get contacted by Tennessee State. But see, you already told me I got the time off. I'm getting that first because to me, that's the most important thing, not the thing to Tennessee State. To be honest with you. And we all have parents. We all have children. Rocky, you have a wife, Coach. You know, you've been married, I believe. I don't. But I mean, again, if one of my children called me and we all had jobs and my child is sick, it's just a protocol. Hey, let me let you know. I might be looking for another job. But first and foremost, I'm going to make sure, hey, I'm not going to be in tomorrow. Is that okay? Want to let you know, et cetera, et cetera. So to me, it's all about how you handle that. But I think, again, it goes back, unfortunately, where the relationship is at. Because people, listen, and I'll make a joke. If everybody knows 80 Suggs is my person. Hey, listen, I got to go. And, oh, by the way, Jack State called me. All right, Steve, holler at me when you get back. But that's because of relationships.
Right.
But I tell you what,
and that's the crazy part.
That's on the hot seat. Yeah.
That's the crazy part about it, because he's been there for a while. And him and his president, they had a past relationship. That's how he ended up getting the job. You know, his credentials was good too.
Well, Cole, let me ask you this question. Okay, let's. Okay, so if I'm Edwin Waters, right, and I'm here, and Tennessee State is here. Okay? See, there's a level of common sense that you got to give people. I'm going to think, and I know what I'm paying you, okay? I know what I'm paying you. And depending on what position you would take at Tennessee State, might pay him more.
Coach, let me ask you this. I'm gonna ask you this, Coach, and I want you to be perfectly honest with you, Coach. If Coach Morgan was 7-3 last year rather than 3-7, does that phone call turn out different?
Definitely. Most definitely it would. You know what I'm saying? And I think that it would have been what do you need and how's everything going where you are and is it something we could do a little different? I know we talked long before, before we shut it down for the summer, when we were talking about how schools have money when you're winning and no money when you lose it. You know what I mean? So that was a losing conversation compared to me being a winning coach. You know what I mean? So it was almost like somebody said, whew, so we don't have to fire him and we can just put this other guy as an interim and start looking for a new coach for our program. That's what it sounded like to me.
Let me ask you, Steve, because I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked Coach Cole. In your opinion, as an HBCU historian, sports historian, do you think that conversation goes different if Coach Morgan is 7-3 last year rather than 3-7?
Well, listen, we all know winning cures all ills. We all know if you are winning, and we have seen it program after program. I just saw a coach that just got arrested for DUI. They ain't firing him because he comes from a winning program. Just got arrested for DUI. I guarantee you, if they won a winning program, he'd be fired.
What do you call when they fire a winning coach?
Well, okay. Well,
what do you think about that?
Well, then again, it depends. Tony Dungy was a winning coach. He got fired.
Yeah.
Tony Dungy was a winning coach.
In the pros?
Yeah, in the pros. He got fired. We've seen coaches in college winning records get fired.
Yeah.
They want to go another direction.
It's just not a common thing. I don't think that's true. A common thing in sports. It's not common for a winning coach to be let go.
Well, look at again. I'm just thinking quickly. Ed Orgeron, he had won a national championship. LSU was not losing. They had winning records those 2 years I think he coached, and they were like, "We got to reset."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he didn't go 1-12. I think they won 8 games those 2 years right after that, and they let him go. Right. We've seen this.
He came to the end of his contract.
Came to the end of his contract.
Yeah, at one. Yeah, they just didn't renew it. But
the thing that kind of puzzles me about this situation is this. The man was dealing with a personal issue, whatever it was, and he abided by the rules of his contract. And rather than let him deal with his personal issue and then address the situation, you immediately jump to, are you staying or going? You know what I mean? Like that was kind of peculiar to me. Like there was no consideration for what he was going through. There was no consideration for the time that the contact happened. You know what I mean? It was just a really, it was almost, and this like I say, I don't know the president or whoever, but it almost like he was ready to pull the trigger on a separation, and this gave him an opportunity to kind of push it in that direction.
Well, and my question, here's my question to both of you guys. Why put that in the contract if you do come back and say that, hey, somebody contact me. You know what I mean? And I know you had some validity, Bishop, when you say Tennessee State, Edward Waters, but you're also saying a head coaching job, which few far between, and he's just going to be a co-coordinator at Tennessee State. So why put that in your contract? If somebody contact you now, make sure you let us know. Why is that in there?
Well, you know, it's funny that you say that, Coach. For a lot of people, as I say, I have a lot of different jobs. And Rocky and I literally just talked about this. One of my jobs, I do a lot of contracts, a lot. I help Scotty with his contract. That's why his contract was tight. And I always tell people, and this is to everybody, listen to me. When you get any contract, it is always slanted against you. Don't ever believe there's a fair contract when somebody gives you a contract. It is not. That is why it is the smallest clauses can get you fired or get you not paid. And I don't know if we have time. I sent Rocky something about what the new contract that they're doing for NIL. That people are shocked that it's going to be in these clauses, going to be in there. So my thing again, it's the little detail. And I think people are, and like I said, I wish Scotty was on here. He would explain. We were going over his contract. And my lawyer was there, and it was explaining. And literally, as lay people, we read a sentence, right, Coach? We think the sentence means this. He said, that's not what that means in legal terms. And I think a lot of people do not understand. That's why I explain to people. What is written on paper is not what it means legally. And understand that. So when you see a clause like this, that's very innocuous, right? This should never come up. This is never going to be a big deal. That's why it's a big deal. Yeah. And that's why any clause that basically, and I tell people, if there's a clause that tells you something you can't do, you better get it out of there. Or you better make sure you understand what you can't do. So that's going to be the first thing they point to.
So tell me, in your professional opinion, when you see that in your client's contract, if somebody contact you, you make sure you contact us, and then we'll go from there. What is that good for your client? Is it good for the agency, or it shouldn't be there at all?
Okay, let me give you a perfect example. A lot of coaches have that clause in there. That's not something that's new. But you know what happens, Coach? And you know, and see, this goes back, and I totally get it for a lot of coaches on certain levels. But that's why you have an agent. Because you know what could have happened? Tennessee State would have called his agent and say, hey, we're interested in your client. Oh, really? What are you interested in? We want him to be offensive coordinator. How much you offer? We want to give him $90,000. We're ready to get him. He ain't even told his client. He said, I'll get back to you. Now, guess what happens? Edward Waters, that doesn't conflict with Edward Waters. Edward Waters said, if Tennessee State contacts you, not any representative of you. That's why you see a lot of times that when you see these deals done, and they say, well, he was under contract. How did this happen at 12 midnight? Well, he's been working on a new deal for 2-3 months. But he's not violating the contract. When you see free agency, you can't talk to a team until XYZ. You can't. You're right. You cannot. But your agent can.
Right.
And this is why I think a lot of, especially I see a lot of our coaches, it was interesting for a lot of our coaches, they don't have direct attorneys that they work with. They kind of contact an attorney when they need a contract review. But to me, when you're in this profession, you need, quote unquote, to have an agent or a legal advisor that says anybody that contacts me about anything, you need to contact Stephen Campbell.
That sounds very, very solid. That sounds very, very solid to me. And I guess that's the new age of college football now. You know, everybody needs a representation and everybody needs an agent so they can make these moves left to right. And I guess with all these young kids too, there's probably got some of that in some of their contracts.
Yeah.
Because I know that's the big thing now, is stopping kids from jumping from school to school to school. So they actually like paying them, or supposed to be paying them, for they won't switch schools.
Hey, Rocky, this comment, because I know this is going to be upset, but I want to, you see this guy, Al, why do you think the guy that got drafted in Bengals holding out because of contract? I want to explain what happened with this.
Hey, Coach, hold on, Mr. Campbell.
Yep.
I want to do this because we're trying something here for a second. I want to test something. in now a minute, we're going to suspend it on the Off Script channel. If you want to continue watching, please go over to the Rocky Miller channel, and we're going to continue to watch on there. Again, I know it's probably an inconvenience for you guys watching on the Off Script channel, but I must test something here shortly, so I'm going to suspend it on the Off Script channel. And there's a link there where you can go to the Rocky Miller channel and continue watching.
Rocky, drop that link one more time and give them a little countdown. Drop that link by itself.
Gotcha.
And give people a little time.
Okay, we'll do.
Because the reason why I want to explain why Al's talking about, because we have a lot of people that have sons, relatives that are moving and matriculating through college that play sports. And I really want to explain this. This is because this is going to really tie into even the things that's going on with NIL and stuff like that. So yeah, just give them a little bit of time. Because I want to let me know when we're over on the other side.
Okay. Hey, I tell you what, everybody who switches over, just put a one up once you done switched over. I don't want to leave nobody off, man. If you switched over, put a one in the chat, man, just so we know that you switched over. I don't want to leave anybody hanging if in fact you having trouble getting over, man. I just want to make sure that if you switched over, go ahead and put a one in the chat. Go ahead, Mr. Campbell.
Okay, we good to go?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll do as people continue to switch over. I'll let it go. Go ahead, Mr. Campbell.
Okay, hold on one second.
I want to get that comment back up about Shamar. Okay, gotcha.
So wait a minute, 1 second. All right. So, all right, we good to go now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. So one of the things this is why this is important. So what happens is a couple of second-round picks are starting to get guaranteed money all the way through their contract. Now, mind you, they have a shorter contract. So what is happening is, and this goes back to the collusion that happened to Lamar Jackson, that they're now getting ready to probably go for a lawsuit on, and they're in silent arbitration. So what has happened is these second round picks are saying, wait a minute, I think the guy from the Bengals, maybe he's picked 37, right? He just saw a guy pick 36, get a guaranteed contract. So he went to his agent and said, hey, I want that too. Now what's happening, all the second round guys are starting to say, wait a minute, we want guaranteed contract. Well, you know the NFL owners don't want that. They don't want that to become a thing. So now you're seeing these second rounders starting to hold out because some of these second round guys have gotten these guaranteed contracts. It's the same thing and they literally have the NFL owner from Arizona texting the other owner for Lamar Jackson. Great job on the contract that you did not guarantee this money. That means I don't have to guarantee the money. So that's the reason why people need to understand about this fine print. Because once you start a standard, right, then everybody, set a precedent, as they would say legally, then everybody going to want that precedent. Well, hey, now going forward, all the second rounders are going to want. Well, you know what's going to happen now? The first rounders are going to start saying, hey, wait a minute. You guarantee a second round guys money? 100%? Now, mind you, they did it because, again, second round contract is on 2 years. But because now they're doing that, it's becoming a thing. So this is really why, I just wanted to point that out, why this is really becoming a thing. Because, again, they're getting full of guaranteed deals, and these guys are not going for it.
Hey,
so all these second rounders, these guys, they really want it.
Hey, I want to appreciate everybody who has switched over. Please like and subscribe. We're trying to get our subscription numbers up on this channel as well. So please like and subscribe. Now, I want to get back to the Edward Waters conversation for a second, Mr. Campbell.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No.
I know this was time a little bit late. I didn't want to lose that.
No. I think that was a great segue for when you're talking about contracts, right? Contract. Now, if there is a mandatory situation where the gentleman has to notify the school, correct? Shouldn't it be a gentleman's agreement that the school is not going to react to being notified? Him being notified? Like if he holds up his end of the bargain, why wouldn't the school be honorable in saying, okay, Coach Morgan, you notified us that you've been contacted. You told us you didn't have a conversation because you were dealing with a personal matter. When you get back from dealing with your personal matter, let's sit down and discuss the nature of the contact.
All right. Well, let me ask you this quick. What if he comes back after this personal matter? I'm going to Tennessee State.
I mean, he's under contract. He can't do that.
He can't go to. He can't quit.
No, he can't.
Well, because he had a buyout. He had a buyout in his contract. I mean, you can't stop the man from quitting, but if he would have quit, he would have had to pay the buyout.
I mean, this guy, coach, this guy's a professional coach, and at the end of the day, this is an untimely separation. What coach in their right mind would want to go to another school in this situation by just leaving the school high and dry and going to? This guy's been a professional coach for the better part of 20 years now, coach?
Yeah.
He has no history of doing this, and he's a head coach. He wouldn't be going to Tennessee State to be a head coach. He'd be going to Tennessee State to be some type of assistant. Right. So what guy in their right mind would abruptly leave a head coaching job right before the season and go be an assistant? Now, again, especially when you have a contract in place. My point is this. Now, Coach Morgan abided by the 48-hour request, but in my opinion, he didn't have to.
Well, I guess the question, Coach, is would you want to lose your coach at this point in time without at least bringing him in, talking, what is it, what can we do to keep you? I understand that Tennessee State is a higher level, but you're really making a level crossing when you compare a head coach to a coordinator. How important is your program to say, man, I don't, if I can keep this guy, it's almost like to me, you got a top wide receiver, and he talked about getting in the portal, and he really don't have no major offers. Do you just say, man, go on in the portal? Or do you bring him in the office and say, what is it? Well, I've been contacted by, UAB. I've been contacted by UAB. And they already got, and then you can talk about it. Well, they already got 5 receivers. Do you want to take that chance? Yada, yada, yada. It was just like, oh, you've been contacting him? All right, man, you let me know in 48 hours.
It would be the same thing as if my wife was contacted by her ex-boyfriend and the next word out of my mouth is, if you want to be with him, go ahead and leave. Get your stuff packed. I'll help you pack up.
Well, they say that all the time, Coach. What you looking at? You want to be with them? You go ahead on.
But what does it say about our relationship if that's my response to my wife notifying me that her ex-boyfriend is attempting to text or call her? We don't have much of a relationship, guys. I'm gonna have to mute and take this call, guys.
Hey, I have contacted Coach Morgan, so I think he's gonna be coming on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I just want to say something again. I think what's always the bottom line is, and I'm gonna say this again to everybody. The most important thing, and Rocky said gentleman's agreement. There's no such thing as a gentleman's agreement in a contract. Because that's an assumption that you hope that somebody's a gentleman. The whole purpose of the contract is you don't care if they're a gentleman or not. They can be a son of a bitch. Excuse my language. I won't use any more of that. But that's the purpose, to protect you from an SOB. That's what one of my mentors told me. You always have a contract to protect you from the SOBs, and most people are SOBs. So that's why I think it's very key. And I think for a lot of us, and again, we got a lot of people that are going out starting their businesses and things like that. I hear them talking and stuff like that. You got a lot of people on here that even at their jobs, what they don't understand. Oh, they can't fire me. Yeah, they can fire you anytime.
Yeah.
But my dear, Campbell, if you're gonna have that language in the contract, there has to be some rules of engagement that both parties are gonna abide by, right?
Well, that's the reason why. And again, that's why you have to have and see and again I just gotta use Scott because I just think about how him and I laugh because some of the clauses that were so little that my lawyer put in his contract, he said, you never know. I'm gonna put it in here just in case. And I'm making up a joke. Hey, he still gets paid if it's a snowstorm. Well, it don't never snow here. Well, guess what? We just gonna put it there just in case. Well, and those are things when you're looking at that. So when you're asking the question is why not protect yourself when you see something that could be a potential issue? And again, I'm not criticizing the contract because a lot of times you say, hey, this shouldn't happen. So I'm pretty sure he's got a great contract. And I want to be critical because that's very disrespectful because, hey, I have not seen the contract, So I hate when you come on and say, man, you don't know me. You don't know my lawyer did. Lawyer's probably great. So want to be clear on that. Want to totally be clear. We're talking hypotheticals, okay? So that's the reason, and I'm answering your question directly. So again, when they looked at it, it probably was not an issue. But again, I think it also goes potentially maybe what you're talking about is the actual relationship with the school.
Yeah. Yeah, and you said, Coach, I had to step away, and I want to make two announcements. One, we have the phone lines open, so if you guys would like to call in and make a contribution to the show, you're welcome to do so at this point. And I didn't hear what you said about Coach Morgan. You said he had replied.
Yeah. I had got in touch with him, so he's trying to be able to call in or represent himself on the show.
Okay. He can call in or text. It doesn't matter. I mean, call in or video in. However, he said. Now, Coach Cole,
let me throw this out here too. And I said it earlier. I guess it went over everybody's head. What about the kids? What is it? Is it whoever the decision maker, Edward Waters, or through the 48-hour tag out? Did they take the kids in consideration? You know what I mean? Because I know from some places, whether a coach leave on his own or leave, period, there's always the kids left with all the mess, and got to make adjustment to another coach and all that. What about them in this whole deal?
Well,
Campbell?
Well, again, I think it's the unknown. And again, I'm just, Coach, just for the sake of the mood of conversation, if I'm Edward Waters, I can't take a chance that he comes back and say he's going to Tennessee State. I need to know what you're going to do because you've already told me, you've already come to me saying that they contact you for a job. They contact you to say hello. They contact you about a job.
But that's saying to me, I want people. I like people on my staff who people want.
You taking NIL payments?
That means they pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always trying to get them to feel doubt that we care about them.
Hey, Coach, I'm being overrun here by some future HBCU athletes.
I got you.
Yeah.
Give me a hand.
Hey, we love the kids now.
Yeah. And they grandpa is taking NIL payments right now if y'all want to go ahead and get started. Hey, because I just let you know, tomorrow's price ain't today's price. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Hey, Rocky, according to you, well, let me tell you this, according to what you told me, he better make sure he keeps performing and being a good grandson because that might go down according to some of the things you telling me is coming down the pike.
Oh yeah. And Coach,
because
I think
the kids always get left with the mess. You know what I'm saying?
In this situation, Coach, I think because it's a transition of a guy that's already on the staff, but I think I understand this, that those parents and those kids, they decided to play for Coach Morgan. They entrusted their kids in the custody. I don't want to use custody, but entrusted the kids under the guardianship and tutelage of Coach Morgan. When something like that changes, Coach, what my concern is as the leader, and I'm talking about the president, why would you even make that a possibility at this point? Can you answer that, Mr. Campbell? What, as a president, why would you at this point even consider a coaching change?
I'm sorry. I'm just on the thing. If you telling me that somebody's telling you about a job and I know that job can pay you more, I'm just sorry. And again, I might sound heartless, but I need to know, because I can't allow you to wait to make a decision and it goes against me, and then we're already into summer practice, and then I got to scramble to figure out who's going to be the coach.
Yeah.
I just can't take that. I can't. To me, you got to look at the weights of it, because the thing that will hurt you the most is the worst case scenario, not the best case scenario.
What happened to the humane part of people, man? Well, you can't call a man in and sit him down and say, man, we love you here. You know, we is it something that I can make you a little comfortable? Is everything okay at home? Just to show some passionate that, yeah, I know you're going through some things. What happened to that? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that's why we have two separate conversations we're having. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I've always said the first thing I would address is the personal first and the business second. I would have made sure they are totally separated.
Hey, guys, we have a couple callers whenever y'all want to.
Let's do it.
Take caller with the last 48572. You're live on HBCU Coaches Corner. What's your name and where you calling from?
What's going on, Rocky?
What's going on? How you doing? Who am I speaking with?
I'm doing pretty good. Oh, you speaking with Al, man. I'm from Michigan, man. Hey, I'll be honest with you. I seen some crazy stuff over the last 2 years up here in Michigan. I don't know if you remember the coach up at Michigan State. He got caught in some stuff, man. And he was supposed to have a fully guaranteed contract, but they had something in there. If you do anything, you're not gonna get the money. I think he's still suing right now. And I'll never forget when Brady Hope got fired. He had some in his clause too that they basically ran him out, and they already knew they was gonna get Jim Harbaugh. They knew Harbaugh wasn't going back to the 49ers. That they basically had his father on campus like 2 weeks in advance, and he did most of the negotiation for his contract. Most people didn't know that. He didn't have his agent. His dad did the negotiation for his contract. So I think Coach Campbell is right. You got to be, like I say, you need an agent to really do your fine print, because if you don't, you'll be in the lurch and they'll do anything. I'll just be honest with you. So me personally, man, I think maybe the best move for him is to go to Tennessee State and keep it moving, because, you know, some schools nowadays, they put in the contract. So I'll just leave it at that. Thanks again, guys. Y'all have a blessed day.
Appreciate it.
Well, Coach, let me ask you a question, because he makes a point. But I want to flip it for another side as far as moving up, because I saw something that I think Willie Simmons did a interview about why he had to leave FAMU based off of resume building. So has he coached on the FCS level before as a coordinator?
No.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Based off of something I saw Willie said one of the reasons why he had to leave FAMU is he needed, based off of what was told to him from several of his mentors, he needed that Power 4 coaching experience on his resume. Does that work the same way as you're moving up to try to get FCS, to get an FCS job, where, you know what, they look and say, you know, you're down here in Waters, but we really like to see you coach on the FCS level, and then make it easy for us to get you to be an FCS coach. Does that work the same way on this level, potentially?
Yeah. I mean, anytime that you make a strive up and you on a different higher level, it counts. How much it counts, I don't know. I think now things are more about who you know and what you know and who your agent know and who your agent don't know. But I'm gonna say this, you know, and through all my career, and I've seen some surprises too. And Rocky, you always made it clear how things have been. We can just look into SWAC and MEAC alone and see the turnover of guys. And are you really getting rid of coaches for win and loss records? Or are you getting it? Or are we getting into personal issues and personal things on getting rid of coaches? And the way it looked, if I'm somewhere If I'm somewhere 2 to 3 years and you getting ready, I don't even know where the restroom at good yet. Now I can see my 4th and 5th year. So is it the record? Is it that now you're here and I really don't like you, or I don't like your style? What is it? Because it's no more loyalty, it seems like, to your contract or to your success. It's all about who it seems like is and I understand the politics of everything, don't get me wrong, but it seems more like, once your honeymoon is over, and you hadn't, I guess, produced maybe, or you hadn't made the strides that I want you to strive, or I don't like you, then it's you pushed out the door.
Now, this is something I would add to add just more context. In 4 years, Coach Morgan has had one winning season. He had a 6-4 season in 23. He had a 4-6 season in 2021. I want to say he had another 4-6 season in 2022. 5-6. I'm sorry, 5-6 season in 2022, and then he had a 6-4 season in 23, and then a 3-7 season last year. Coach, and this is what I'm getting to, Coach. Somewhere along that term, because we spoke with Coach Morgan, his contract was renewed, right?
Right.
Okay. I can only think, Coach, there's something about the relationship between him and the person in charge changed between when he signed the renewal and where we stand today, Coach. Because you don't sign a coach to that hadn't won, renew his contract without having a great relationship with him. Wouldn't you say that, Mr. Campbell? You don't sign a losing coach to a contract extension unless y'all have a great relationship in somewhere, or you really believe in it.
Well, or you believe in them, right? And you also, again, sometimes you got to dance with, that the girl that you brought you to dance. When you see what the other options out there, and somebody wants to beat. Because I think unfortunately when we start going down to those levels where Evan Ward is, you got to want a guy that want to be there. You're not going to have the facilities. You're not going to get paid as much. You look at what do you think his assistant coaches are making?
The coordinators are making 50, and then the coaches under that are making way less than that. So, and one of the things too, though, Coach Morgan, my new brother said that he was hard by Bryant, the AD up at Alabama A&M. But the president stuttering had something to do with hiring Morgan, because they had some pretty good candidates, but he was hired by Bryant up at Alabama A&M, the AD at Alabama A&M.
But he was renewed by the current AD, correct?
Yeah, he was renewed by the current, the AD and the president. See, that's one thing too on these Division II campuses. The president has a big stick, man, and I mean their hands is in everything. Everything that moves, their hands are in it. And sometimes I feel that sometimes they are the hard people, let them do their job and do their job as a president. But he was hired by Bryant and then renewed by this president.
Hey, we got Chuck on the line. Let's let Chuck express himself. Chuck, you're live on HBCU Coaches Corner.
All right. Good evening to you all. Hope your summer's going well. This is Chuck Hunt calling from Monroe, Louisiana.
Chuck!
It is something. Hey, how's it going, you all? Doing fine here in Northeast Louisiana. And I'm just chiming in on what you all are talking about. I saw that news yesterday. You know what happened? You never think about it, this is, so much going on with football media days going on, and all of a sudden these type things occur. And I know one thing that Waters, their president, Dr. Zachary Faison, he's very involved in sports. You always think of college presidents being kind of snobbish and all. He talks about how much he loves sports. And hey, Coach Cole, you probably remember this guy. Used to be president of the University of Southern California back during the times of the era of John McKay and John Robinson, Jack Hubbard. They talk about him, how much involved he was in sports. He used to be down on the sideline. John Robinson talked about him, said he's on the sideline. He said he got to the point he got so involved in arguing with the official and had a flag thrown on him and say, I almost lost the game. They won the national championship that season in '78, but it almost cost them the game. And but I know Dr. Faison, he see him on the sideline. You look at these things, you thinking things are going great, but you never know what's going on behind closed doors. I didn't go too far into that, but I just think about what's going on now. Even on the high school level, what's happened with Teddy Bridgewater. His football season's around the corner, and he's placed on suspension. You just don't know what's going on.
Oh yeah. Hey, I want to thank you, Chuck, for calling in, man. Yeah. I appreciate it. We'll
all right,
we'll
great
go
conversing with you all. All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Chuck bring up a couple things. He bring up the Teddy Bridgewater thing, but he was very complimentary of the president and said that the president is a sports guy.
That's just like Coach President Humphreys. He used to lead them all and come down on the field and do it. What you think, Bishop?
Yeah, listen, I've seen some very active presidents. I've been around, as you say, Dr. Humphreys. I saw Dr. John Peebles at Jackson State. You see people, presidents that care, but I think the most important thing is the difference between caring and being messy, right? Because what you don't want is where a president is he's just, like I say, throwing stuff against the wall. I think you also have to, I think great presidents hire great ADs and great coaches, right? And then they support that mission. But I think what happens is when you see a lot of movement where they're firing ADs every 5 minutes and things like that, you can kind of look at the time and see what's going on. Now, I got FAMU, which is ironic. We were kind of going through presidents, but that was also the same time we were going through a bunch of ADs. So that kind of goes with that, So I can see that firsthand because we had 10 ADs in 8 years.
Yeah.
But we had 3 presidents probably during that time too.
This is an interesting comment right here by Neil Guillaume. I think that's his name. Coach, do you consider a guy like Teddy Bridgewater and Edward Waters at this point, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, if Teddy would want to come, of course, it's a lot of work to be done than being in high school where your recruiting base is just around the city, But they did pass it on to Brian Jenkins. We can't. When you look at Brian Jenkins' records, he's been a head coach. He's won championships in Black college football. He's been around, so. I guess that played a role into it too, probably, Bishop, to say, look, we got a guy that really has more experience than the head guy, who has won more than the head guy, who has coached up on the higher level than the other guy. So that might have made how they felt that this guy could come in and get it done.
And Coach, Mr. Campbell, a guy like Brian Jenkins, his name kind of rings out in Florida, doesn't it, when it comes to HBCU football? Is that correct?
Yeah, what Coach knows, this is the most important thing. When you've coached in the area, the high school coaches. So you're able to, immediately turn on a lot of those contacts and things like that. The JUCOs, where to go, where to recruit at. So anytime you've coached in a state, had some success, you can always go back to those people. Say, hey, you remember me? I took it. And let's go back to Coach's point. Coach Jenkins probably got kids that he coaches now.
Yeah.
And to me, I think we had one of Coach. I think we had one of your players on. We were talking about that. There was a coach, and he was talking about that how he had worked under you, and now he's going back and talking to people. I think, and again, I don't know, that just made me think about that, but those connections mean a lot when you have a coach that knows the high school coaches and things like that.
Yeah, Brian Jenkins is a Florida guy. He played at University of Cincinnati. He worked in the Ohio Valley Conference. He was a running back coach when I was at Tennessee State. He also coached at Bowling Green. So he's coached on the Division I level. So he has all the medals. He has the patches on his. He just needed the opportunity. We were dealing with him. He was the number one guy for the Central State job, and that thing kind of got snatched up underneath him. As they say, Coach Jenkins, the clock's on. You're on the clock. Unfortunate, and we can't say unfortunate for Coach Morgan because he's moving on up to a Division I AA school, Tennessee State, up underneath Coach Barlow, who what was it, a 4 or 3 deal? And of course, who's probably going to end up coming to Edward Waters? Eric Dooley. Donovan Johnson took it out my mouth.
Why do you say that?
Well, I think because of the relationship between him and Jenkins.
Okay.
And right now, Eric Dooley is,
available,
proven coach. He's still getting paid by Southern, so the money is not an issue. So it possibly could be Jenkins gonna move into the head spot, and Eric Dooley gonna move to the coordinator spot.
Yeah, man. I hate that for Coach. I hate it for the kids at Edward Waters. Looks like Coach Morgan is going to land on his feet. It looks like possibly Brian Jenkins is getting the opportunity otherwise he wouldn't get if it wasn't for Coach Morgan stepping down. But I hope the kids are treated well in this transition and they get the opportunity they always wanted and the opportunity they dreamed for. We all know them coming from NAIA, moving up to Division II, they're in a really tough conference right now. With the emergence of Clark Atlanta, along with, Fort Valley and the powerhouses that are all in there, it's not going to be an easy day for them.
Yeah, they got them chose number 8 anyway, out of 12. They got them chose to pick number 8. So, they're not expecting a lot out of them anyway now, especially with another coach taking over the helm.
Hey, Coach, speaking of that, if you don't mind transition, this week was SWAC Media Day, Coach.
Yeah.
And of course, we tried to get credentials to SWAC Media Day, but for whatever reason, our request for credentials were declined. Only thing I'll say about that is I did get an explanation from Andrew Roberts. He did call me back. He did speak with me and let me know why. And I can only hope in the future that we'll be able to meet the criteria that would allow us to get media credentials in the future. I don't think it serves us any good to complain about it or anything. We can just try to continue to improve our product, continue to highlight HBCUs, and do what we do, and hopefully in the future we'll get an opportunity to be at SWAC Media Day.
We did get credentials from other conferences. Can you kind of get those conferences a shout out?
Yeah, yeah. We were able to go to SWAC Media Day, man. I mean, not SWAC, Big 12 Media Day. We had a great time there. Was able to talk to Deion Sanders, AD, Rick George, a guy who really we weren't on his schedule or anything like that. I just basically, while on live air, waved to him, gave him a shout out, and the man said, "I'll be back in 15 minutes, and you'll have it." And we were able to sit down and have an interview with him and talk about what how his job has changed since hiring Deion. Rick George openly admitted the job that he took probably 10 years ago is a completely different job now than it was back then. He say with they have three seasons completely sold out and a waiting list for season tickets. And the reason why that the community and everybody is behind Deion, he says, regardless of wins and losses on the field, he say they're all winning because of Deion. And they appreciate him being there, and they're going to do everything they can to make sure they keep him, for a long time. I didn't ask about Deion's health. I'm a stickler for that. I think people's health situations they're very much their private business. I don't think Rick George will be at liberty to discuss it with me anyway, but I wouldn't dare ask what was the status of Deion's health. But he was so gracious to sit down and have a conversation with me and my co-host Jalen. And
what other I know the SIAC we could go there as well, but
okay, yeah,
and so those are the media days we were able to get opportunity to attend. Like you said, unfortunately, next year maybe or whatever we need to do, we'll damn work it with the conference and see. I would love to come and be a part of the conference I played for.
Hey, Coach, and that's another thing, Coach. One thing about it, you are SWAC, Coach. You played, you were a player, you were a coach, and you are SWAC. And me being a media person that I hadn't always covered the SWAC, they can decline me, but Coach, I believe you and specifically Mr. Campbell deserve to be at SWAC Media Day. You guys, the time and effort that you guys have invested in the SWAC, and in particularly FAMU and Texas Southern, I think you guys deserve to be there. And I know you were kind of taken aback, Mr. Campbell, by that, and I give you time to express yourself based on what you.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even have any more conversation about it because I don't think it's worth the conversation, because we do a great job here on HBCU Coaches Corner. The people that we know and who we know, it's fine with me. I understand sometimes it's a time situation. So I don't, because first of all, what I don't want to do is, what happens is, I've learned this in the social media space, people misinterpret what you say.
Right.
So that's why I'd rather not get it misinterpreted. We understood it. We'll be there next year. Won't be any problem. They got the SWAC MEAC Challenge. We'll be there for that. So we'll be there for the Celebration Bowl. We'll be there for the Boston Classic. So I'm fine with that. But I did want to, it made me think about what you talked about, Coach of SWAC. You watch different things. There's a lot of people watch this show. And there's nothing funnier to me when I see people that watch this show and then they'll go to somewhere else and get in the chat. Cole don't know what he's talking about. And I always wonder about when people say somebody don't know what they're talking about and they never did it, but they can tell this person. Now, Coach, I just got to say this again. Can you tell these people your resume one more time? Because for the people in the back, because there's a group of people that I really think that they think you coach John Madden football, on PlayStation or something. And then, so Coach, two things I want you to do. Tell the people where you played and what position you played. And then tell the people where you coached at the SWAC and what you did to SWAC. Just to remind folks a little bit.
Yeah, well, I played at Texas Southern University, where I still own the record in football. I played quarterback as well as I played point guard. I just went on the bench. And I threw 6 touchdowns in 2 games in my career at Texas Southern, which is still a record over there, and broke all the career records, seasonal records. I went on to start coaching, and my first offensive coordinator job was at a school at Southwestern College up in Winfield, Kansas, in the KCAC, where we broke every conference seasonal record. I was there just for 1 year. I had a kid named Derek Singleton. He threw 29 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, and he's in the Hall of Fame out there. And I was able to go to Southern University. Southern University, where I coached under Pete Richardson, where we played the first black bowl game on January 1st, Southern versus South Carolina State. I was on that 11-1 team as a wide receiver coach. Then I went on to coach over in Germany for about 6-7 months, and then I ended up at the University of Cincinnati under Rick Minner. And I coached a guy named Robert Tate, who was also the player of the year for the conference. And we was in Conference USA. Then I got my opportunity at Tennessee State, where I led Tennessee State.
Your mama got you that job, Coach. Your mama got you that job. I just want you to know.
Yeah, my mama. Well, I coached under my brother, my first big-time offense coordinator job. I led the league in passing all 4 years that I was there. I led the league in total offense the 3 out of the 4 years. Quarterback was All-American, up for Heisman. Wide receiver was Player of the Year 1 year. Quarterback was Player of the Year 1 year. We lost one game in 2 years, which was on a kick to go off in 98, 99, won back-to-back championships. We held a lot of records down there, broke a lot of Tennessee State records. Then was able to move to Alabama State as the offensive coordinator. Took a kid named Darnell Kennedy, and he finished number 6 in all the NCAA passing. He started as a freshman before I got there, and when I got there, we won the East Championship back-to-back. We averaged about 34, 35 points a game. At Tennessee State, we averaged 38.9 and 39.1 as an offense matriculated. Was able to leave there and went to Lane College, and they hadn't had a winning season. And I put together back-to-back winning seasons in 6 and 7. Of course, everybody knows Jacoby Jones. He was a Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Special Team Player of the Year. First team all-conference wide receiver. I also received a Coach of the Year in the SIAC.
Coach, can you pause for a second?
Yes.
Can you also, because y'all learned this last night, Coach, at Alabama State, weren't you and Coach Cole, didn't y'all recruit Tavares Jackson?
Yes.
At Alabama State as well? So I just want you.
I personally recruited Tavares Jackson, and I told him he went to Arkansas his freshman year, and I told him, look, if it don't work out, and you go, and I'm saying what you're saying, and at that time they never ever had a black quarterback, and I told him, well, if you're gonna be the first, then you go and do a good job. Unfortunately, he wasn't the first. He came back. I was able to coach him in that spring, and then he went on. Of course, things happened with my brother in the school. They separated. He went on to go to the SWAC, lose the first year, and then win the second year. So we also recruited a guy named Kelsey Williams from the University of Tennessee. We had the team was loaded, and we actually, Campbell, they got rid of us on August the 4th, my birthday, and the kids reported August the 5th. So I know about all that leaving coming right before the season. Been there, done that. Fortunately, I got the job at Lane. I mean, Jacoby Jones and my group, man, they turned it out. Of course, we broke most of Lane's offensive records there and seasonal, because my thing has been seasonal instead of career, because we had those outstanding, and we averaged about 32, 33 points a game there. Going to Texas Southern.
Coach, you be leaving stuff out, Coach. You were Coach of the Year in the SIAC.
Yes, sir. I was the first and only coach in the SIAC to win Coach of the Year without winning the conference. The coaches got together and they voted me in and said, man, you deserve this. Taking a school like Lane, who hadn't won in over 10 years. Same thing with Alabama State, hadn't won in 10. Same thing with Tennessee State, had a winning season until we got there.
And Coach, tell them how many scholarships you had at Lane.
I had 7 scholarships at Lane College. I had 7 scholarships versus teams that had 36. And we beat everybody except for Tuskegee and Albany State. It's a lot of things. You guys have put me on the spot. Tennessee State, they only had one 3 championships, 1 in 54 and 2 tri-champs in 68. And I took the team, when I took over the team, they were 4-40. And we turned around the team to, of course, the championship, the first outright championship in the history of the school. Since I left, they hadn't had a winning season.
And this is TSU, Texas Southern. I think you said Tennessee State, but you meant Texas Southern.
Yeah, and they hadn't had a winning season in 15 years since I left, and didn't have a winning season in about 10 years when I took over that program. So we did a lot of great things at Texas Southern. And let me say this, what I'm most proud of, out of all those schools, even when I was assistant coach, all my kids graduated. They got college degrees. And all of them went on to get jobs and be productive. I think that's more of a champion with me than all the success. I've had some great assistant coaches. They went on, the O-line coach at Alabama, the Tide, coached under me. I gave him his first job. The head coach at Prairie View gave him his first job. Defensive back coach now at the New Orleans Saints kept him a part of what's going on. Coach Freeman, head coach at Morehouse, he's the head coach. Coach Toriano Morgan, head coach at Edward Waters, played under me. Fred Keiss for the DC Washington team, he coached under me. The head coach now, Coach Harris, actually played in my system. So it's been a lot of Coach Perkins down at Florida International. It's just been, my tree is.
Did Teddy Keaton coach under you?
No, Coach, he didn't coach under me, but he studied under me. I can say that,
Well, Coach, the reason why I'm just gonna say, and we can move on. So this is just for all them people that's in their mama basement, people that talk about they know SWAC sports, that want to put dirt on Coach Cole's name. I'm gonna say this again: don't talk about the man if you don't know the man. So I just want to be, because it always tickle me when I go, I watch everybody else's shows, people watching, they always got something to say about Coach Cole. Like they ever coached. They ain't never coached. They ain't never recruited nobody, never won a championship, but they know better. And then most of them didn't even start watching the SWAC until Deion came. I ain't talking about you, Rock. I'm talking about these SWAC.
No. Yeah, I know what I don't know.
Yeah. So that's what tickles me when these folks want to come up here. And I said, Coach, I just had to get that on my check. I was watching something the other day, and I just saw the people talking about Cole don't know what he's talking about when they coming back. And I'm like, he don't know what he's talking about. The man won a SWAC championship.
Yeah.
But you sitting in your mama basement trolling people. So I just had to put that out there. I just had to put the coach, like I say, because again, I'm going to give you your flowers, because what you have done to give coaches this platform. We have had every top coach in both conferences, and all 4 conferences, let's say that, HBCU Conference, not counting pros, on this show. Right. They ain't been on nobody else's show, because you know why? They don't know them. Right. They're not going to go on their show, but they don't know them.
I had the pleasure of beating Coach Comergy, Rod Broadway, Pete Richardson, all the top coaches. I faced them, and either if I was a coordinator, I put up big points, and when I was a head coach, I beat them all. The thing people want to say is always NCAA, the same rule that they don't disband about now you can sign up to 105 kids is the same rule they say they got me on because I signed over my initials. But if anybody knows anything about the NCAA, it's a coach can only offer a scholarship. He really can't give a scholarship until it goes through the process. So if I'm sending you my kid and I go over the process, then there's people, what they call compliance people, they're supposed to stop and put those things in order. You know what I'm saying? Have I violated some rules? Yes, I have. To what degree? I don't think it was the degree that it carried on the field. But like I said, a lot of stuff has changed now. They paying players and all that. I've never done that before. So, it is what it is. I know a lot of people didn't like my swag, You know, it was almost like the Muhammad Ali. I kind of felt when I coach to win, and I'm going to win. You know what I mean? And so some people maybe I rubbed the wrong way, but that's okay. I've had a great time, you know, being in there, but I wanted to contribute back to Black coaches that give them a platform, because we got some great coaches that can really coach this game. They're just not getting an opportunity in the PWI and will not get an opportunity in the PWI. So this is what we stuck with. We stuck with these 40 football programs that we got to try to control and hold on to.
Hey, caller, you have a echo in the background. So first, mute whatever you listen to or walk away from it before you come on. But the last 45240, you're live on HBCU Coaches Corner. What's your name and where you calling from?
Okay, N.O. Joe, man.
What's up, N.O.?
I don't know about. I don't look up Coach Cole history, and BJ Jones said it himself on your show. If they wouldn't have got Coach Cole out of Texas Southern, he would have ran the SWAC. That's what BJ Jones said. If they wouldn't have got Coach Cole out of Southern, so I don't know all the people talking about who Coach Cole don't know, man. Coach Cole, I done read the bio. I know all about you. And you a bad man. That's all I want to say. As I'm gone.
I appreciate you.
Hey, Coach, that's a great description for you. You're a bad man. And
man,
probably
just like y'all two, man. You guys two all-stars, man. And that, you know, I never want to go without saying and take all the accolades away from you. I mean, we all joined at the hip, and that's what makes us winners, man. You know, we all respect each other's what we all bring to the table, and you know, no one man is bigger than the other, and that's what it's about, man. It's about teamwork, and together each accomplishes more. And as you can see, man, we going to another level, and thanks to the people watching it. You know, they want to see good content. I believe, and believe me, I know this man over to my right facing him, the Bishop, and I know my man over Rocky. They wouldn't do this if this was BS, or if I was BS, or we didn't have the content. We wouldn't have this show, you know. And it motivates you two guys, motivate me to continue to get on each and every week, you know, to bring these special people on that we bring on, and let our people and our fans know, you know, so when they go watch these games or give them motivation to support these HBCU games. So I appreciate all that.
Well, Coach, I you know what I think, Coach. I think you don't get your flowers enough in this space. Anybody who questions your knowledge, your depth of knowledge, your depth of SWAC history, what you've accomplished in this sport, they're foolish. They just foolish. And I think sometimes, and I'll even say this, and Mr. Campbell can add some context to this. We've had a lot of people come in this space, and they don't have a pure understanding of what the SWAC is all about as it relates to the history of the SWAC and what was done before they arrived in the SWAC. Like, that's sometimes I think what people miss, and that's one of the things that I appreciate with you, Coach. You're able to add context about what has been done in the SWAC and also the challenges that have been faced by people in this space as well. It's not because this is not just a football conversation generally we have in this space. This is a broader conversation about what HBCUs mean to the culture and to Black people as a whole. And I love having those conversations. And I know Campbell does as well.
Hey, one of the things, Rocky, Coach Green asked a great question. And I know this is one of the biggest highlights they have at the SWAC Media Day was the announcement by Commissioner McClellan about SWAC TV, which I think, and he asked, well, what do you think about it? Coach, did you see this about this announcement, SWAC TV?
I seen it, but I didn't get the content of it.
Well, let me talk about. So basically, what's going to happen is It's going to be a portal, which again will be on various apps and applications. So Fire TV, Apple TV, Android, Apple phone, et cetera, and all that content that is not being used by either ESPN or HBCU Go. Now you're going to be able to place to see this great content, and also the non-revenue sports. You're going to be having a portal on the non-revenue sports. Now, one of the things too that he mentioned, and it was so funny, Scott, and people know I talk to him every day. And I talked about this, and I said one of the things that will be great about this is that, and for all, again, one of the greatest games in SWAC, and we had him on the show. That's why I'm setting this up. Willie Totten, one of the greatest games in SWAC history was Alcorn versus Valley. For a lot of people, that was the game of all games in SWAC, as far as the level of intensity and the players that play. You're going to be able to see that game now. Because what did the commissioner say? That game, that's one of the games that we're going to make sure we highlight and feature. So one of the things to Coach Cole's point is that I got to listen. I have given the commissioner a little bit of grief, but he's my homeboy. But this is one of the biggest things that he has done that I think is going to really allow the SWAC to go. And I also think, to his point, if I understand what he's going to do, way to monetize it, this is very important because as somebody who has an app and understands this, when you are in somebody's phone, you know how to sell to them and you know how to market them. Because again, you can send them messages, you can talk to them. Especially when you accept that, I don't think people understand how much an app has the information in your phone. And so I think this is a really big deal. Again, I saw Scotty make a point 3 years too late, but sometimes you can't do it when you do it. You got to do it when you can't do it. So again, should he have done it with Deion came? They weren't ready to do it with Deion came. They weren't prepared to do it.
You know, one of the brilliant things, in my opinion, that Deion brought to the space, he brought an awareness to the true value that the SWAC has, not to the general public, but to people within the culture of the SWAC. Now, you may disagree with me on that, Camel, but I believe that you guys, everything that we've enjoyed the last 5 years already existed before Deion got here. It just wasn't, the stories weren't being, the things weren't being sold, the stories weren't being told. And that's the fault of the people that were within the culture for the last 30 years. That has nothing to do with the people like myself who came in 5 years ago. It has everything to do about what the people within the culture thought about the product that they had or the experiences they had.
Well, look, I've spoke on this at nauseam, and I don't say this. And for anybody that says, well, I think one of the greatest things that ever happened was Deion going to Jackson State. I think that was a marriage made in heaven. Deion's personality, that big stadium, the history, 50,000 black folks in the stadium, that's a great visual. And what I loved about it, somebody, because and Coach and I talked about this, there was a down period for 10 years where people just didn't care about HBCU football, especially the SWAC. And all you heard about was the bands. I'm going to see the band, and then people would leave, and you didn't even know who was playing. But Deion made football important. And hey, listen, I love the Marching 100, but that was the first time in 10 years where I saw, now this is Florida A&M, a football heritage school, a pedigree school, and it got back to football. And I've always told people this, when we get back to football, it makes the bands better because the bands then are playing for something, not for themselves. When you got a big game, when you got a Jackson State and FAMU and the bands are going and people care because they're trying to win a championship for football. So that's what Deion, because what Deion said, I'm going to elevate this school back to where it is. Well, you know what everybody else did? FAMU was like, hey, I got to get my stuff together. Alabama State. I'll never forget when Jackson State carried out the suits. I remember Alumni Association said, we got to get them suits for our kids. Just the small things like that. So, no, I think we should always give Deion that credit because the value was always there. But I think sometimes when you get beat down, you need a new, fresh message. And I think because we are overlapped by the SEC, I think we had a little bit that cloud of the SEC over us. And I think Deion kind of moved that away.
Now, Coach Cole, you're somebody who, as I've come to know you as a man and through experiencing you as a friend, I kind of got an idea of what your coaching style was like, Coach. Now, let me say this. In my opinion, Coach, now I hope you don't take this the wrong way. I believe as a coach, Deion is a lot like you, and he brought a lot of the same things that you brought to the table. And I'll say this, were you given some of the same pushback within the culture that Deion was given when you brought that thing, whatever that is, that you and Deion share?
Well, you know, I mean, it's no question. We had a lot of similarities. You know, of talking to guys that I actually know personally on the staff, and you know, we have some of the similarities of what we think is important. You know, if you look good, you play good, you get paid good. You know, this is the uniform that we're gonna wear. You know, you're gonna cut your hair. I know my man Bishop was like, you know, I don't know about them braids, them, you know, now all that's going, you know, and everybody gonna have their stuff on their, you know, pants. And back in the day, I went and bought all the kids polos. You know what I mean? Back in the day, I went and bought all people what I could afford. You know, I remember going into the big sports complex equipment place, and this guy had all these New Balance shoes just sitting over the corner, you know, with dust on them. I said, man, how can I make this money to get those shoes so all my players can wear? And I made them wear them. They all had on New Balance. You know, we got travel warm-up suits. They all had travel warm-up suits. I made sure the building was clean, you know. So yeah, it was a lot, you know. And the thing about Deion, between the difference between me, they could touch me because I didn't have Deion Sanders' money. You know what I mean? I didn't have Deion Sanders' platform. You know, they wanted to touch Deion, but they couldn't because nobody want to be on blast. And that's what he had. And he did the right thing of getting out of there. You know what I mean? In my case, you know, that wasn't the case. I couldn't, you know, it was like every time I go to a school, it was like I was getting a bike and just going to get up to top speed. And here comes some issue or some problem, you know, that we could have got by. You know, I always say, you know, I ain't beat my wife, I ain't raped nobody, I ain't DWI, I don't, you know, drink. I'm not a big guy on that, you know, but I am a big guy.
You ain't steal no money. You steal no money.
I ain't steal no money, and I am a guy that when I come into that building, Campbell and Rock, y'all know I'm gonna be sharp. You know, I'm a represent. You know, I'm always, and I just kind of felt that way. That I am gonna be the example. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be the I'm gonna be the example, not the exception. I'm gonna be the example.
And one similarity, you correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, you were okay with all the eyes being on you and receiving that attention. You were very comfortable in the spotlight, so to speak.
Yeah. And, you know, and then it's important, you know, just like Deion would invite all his pro friends and his celebrities. See, me, I would invite all the alumni back. I would make sure if I seen a guy I played with or a guy outside the fence, I don't care if the game, I'm like, hey, let him in. He needs to come on in, you know, because you got to get that alumni. And that's why I love Bishop about what's important on making sure those alumni feel like they're a part of this program and you can get them dollars that you need. It wasn't nothing that I couldn't get. I had a limousine for homecoming, free, or a limousine to go pick up my coach's parents. Stores like Papa Do's and Olive Garden, they all fed my staff on Sundays. You know what I mean? We stayed in the 5-star hotel at the Galleria because the TSU had a TSU graduate that was in there, and then we got together and we made a deal that's where we stayed there on Friday nights in the Galleria. And our breakfast and stuff wasn't no different from the Houston Texans or at that time the Oilers, you know, when we were there. So, and I went out and I just made those deals. And I think on the black college levels, so many of them, when they get in those positions, they sit over at the palace and never come out and go down to where the peasants at and make them understand that we need them.
And Coach, this is the last similarity, and I'll let Mr. Campbell know. This is the last similarity. And this is what I think is the most important thing about you, Coach. To know you is to love you, Coach, and know how generous and what a real nice, pleasant, generous man you are. That's the truth of the matter. I don't think your persona, much like Deion, gives that off. I think Deion is often, I'm not gonna use the word hated, but he's kind of heavily critiqued from the outside in. But anybody who personally knows him, and I know Campbell knows a lot of people who personally know Deion, anybody who ever sat in the same room with Deion seemed to love him to death and would do anything for him. But people on the outside don't get that same impression. I don't know why that's the case, but Mr. Campbell, do you have any input on that? You're muted, seem like.
I think that happens all the time. We think we know people because we see them on TV, and we don't. We think we know, especially in this, because we see them on social media. We know what kind of food they like, what kind of car they drive, what house they live, but you really don't know them. And that's the thing about what I always said. You know, it always tickles me when people say they know people. They think, no, you don't, because I'll talk to the person. Hey, you ever talk to the person? I don't know who you're talking about. I saw him talking about me on the podcast, but I don't know him. So that's the thing about it. And again, just going all the way back, which, you know, with Deion, everybody will tell you, like I say, you know this, Rocky, Kevin Smith, one of my boys, you know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. Look at T-Buck, all these people that had known Deion has always been, you know, hey, this is a great guy. He'll do anything for people. He's just a good guy. But again, when you are at a superstar level that he is, and again, he has I think people don't understand, that persona, he built that. That's his funny persona. We saw that, and anybody at FAMU, we saw him build. It's pretty funny to us when you saw him structurally this primetime persona, right? This was a business thing. This wasn't like, and he'd say, well, you know, they call me primetime and all that. I get that, but he literally said, I'm going to have a business being primetime, right? So when you do that and people see the flash and the dash and the talking and, you know, all that must be the money today, you know, and all that, they think they know him, but they don't. And that's most people. People watch us on the show. They don't know me. They don't know anything about me. And I like that because you're not afraid. So again, you can't talk about me if you don't know me, or you can talk about what I said on a podcast. So I think we make a lot of mistakes that we assume that we know people when we really don't. So that's what
Hey, Coach, did you feel misunderstood as a coach and even as a former coach? Do you feel misunderstood about whether people may think you one way, but you're really just a really good guy?
You know, I'm best at who I am. You know what I mean? And, you know, I know maybe sometimes I rub somebody the wrong way, but it's in good intention. And it's about winning. You know what I'm saying? It's about doing what you need to do to win football games. You know, I'm not removed from making mistakes, but it just seems like when I do, it's the death penalty. You know what I'm saying? It's the death penalty. You know what I mean? And that's just what it comes down to. You know what I mean? Why am I blackballed from black college football?
But Coach, do you think the success you had as such a young man put a target on your back?
Oh, I mean, you know, without a doubt. I mean, I was before Deion. You know what I mean? What Deion has done was the same thing we were doing back in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? About uniformity, you know, cleaning the building up, making sure the field and stuff is ready for these young men, you know, going out and doing, you know, all the things that they said that we done or was a part of is stuff that they let happen. I remember one time talking to the tailback from Alabama on the phone, you know, that was an impermissible call. Now, shit, it's the portal. You know what I'm saying? It's all over the place. But none of those were detrimental where I think that it should have caused dismissal. But, you know, I'm not the one to make the decision. I live with it. You know, like I said, I had a great career. And, you know, I don't have no shame on nobody. And I just look forward to, you know, don't count me out, man. As long as the good Lord up there, I got good health. Long as it's good, hey, you never know, man. You might see me on one of them sidelines one day again.
Hey, Coach, you never know. Hey, Coach, there's a couple things I want to go over, and I'll let you guys know. I want to talk about this one thing that Dr. McClellan said. He said the SWAC schools owe $30 million over the next 10 years to the house settlement. I was just wondering, did either one of you guys hear that? And does that number sound staggering to me?
30
What does it
million
sound-
in the next how many years?
10 years.
So they took the deal then.
Yeah, they signed into the deal. But again, I think we kind of talked about this. Now, when he said the SWAC, that wasn't each individual school, was it?
No. He said the SWAC conference, all the schools combined, owe $30 million to the house settlement.
Right. So
Well,
go ahead, Coach. You go.
I mean, my thing is, where did he had to see that we could raise that kind of money being the commissioner to be able to get that back to the conference. And he said, how many years?
10.
So that's $3 million a year we would have to give away. And we got 12 teams. So you divide that into the meal, what we got here, Coach? A couple $100,000.
Major eclipse of mathematician because Major just bought $300,000 per year for each school.
Yeah, there you go. Good
job, Major.
Yeah, there you go.
But
So-
I think, but you know what, and I want to be accurate because one thing I don't want to do is misquote. But I thought what I saw, because I was going to, when you mentioned that, I was actually going to watch that again and actually read. I like to read stuff. But from my understanding, he said some of that was going to be covered by the money that we get from the tournament, the NCAA tournament, that was going to help offset some of that money.
Now, what he did say is that the SWAC has a strategic plan to offset the expenses for the school. He also said this: even paying the house settlement, some of the schools received more money this year than they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right, based off of what the deal that
the revenues that were brought in.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think the more accurate thing, and I think we can do a show on this. I will really, and again, because I can talk to certain people that would know the answer to this. I think there is going to be some school, because I think and what I saw was, and again, I hate to do it because we always have to do it, UAPB or Valley, because of the revenue that they don't bring in, based off of not being on TV as much as a FAMU in Jackson State, because we also get paid, from my understanding, for being on TV more, right? So that happens also. So I think those are the ones that they were really worried about as far as their contribution of them not winning championships, them not having their own individual deals. But that's one of those things that I would like to just really do an in-depth, and maybe we could do a show about that as we get ready to come.
Now, he did mention, now this is the first time I had heard this term used as it pertains to the portion of the house settlement that each school has to pay. He said scale factors into what is required for each school to pay. Now, what scale they're using, I have no idea what he's specifically talking about. He says, but he's simply saying, and this is how I looked at it, the more a school pays out in NIL, that increases their portion of the house settlement that they have to pay. That's just kind of what I read into it. That's not anything that's concrete or anything, but I don't know any other scale they could be working off of, to be perfectly honest with you, other than what NIL payments are being made to students.
Hey, Rocky, pull this comment up for Major. Coach, I'm going to let you go, but I'm going to, because I do know that. We talked about this. Go ahead, Coach.
What? What? My question.
I was going to answer this question.
Go ahead, Coach.
Well, one of the things, the reason why we opted in was really the scholarship ability to expand and spread the scholarships over. All FCS schools, now we do not have to pay that payout like FBS does. FBS now has to set aside X amount of money to pay all their students for playing football, basketball, whatever revenue generating sports, and then it cascades down.
They have to set aside some of their, moving forward, they have to set aside some of their TV money according to the house settlement.
Right. Well, that's how they're going to offset it. Absolutely. But then because they're going to use the TV money to pay for it. But my point of it is that FCS, we don't, that's the one provision. We do not have to do that. The reason why we opted in was the reason to expand, to get the 105 scholarships up to the 105 scholarships.
That's
now, Coach, let's talk about, me and you had a phone call about this. Explain to them how actually a coach is going to work the 105 scholarships and why that's so important.
Well, they basically coming from 63 full scholarships or whatever the school can give them. And so if I got 63 full scholarships, I can give money up to 105 players, where it used to be you could only sign 30 players a year. You know, they had the initials. You know, everybody would get a list of how many players you could sign. Now you can have up to 105 players on money. So you can sign as many as you can with the scholarship money that you have. Of course, some schools don't have 63 full scholarships. You know, I think they might have got Valley up there or Pine Bluff. I know we're lacking a little bit. But if so, even though if they had 50 scholarships, they still could give kids money up to 105. So you know, recruiting will expand. You know, they'll be able to pick people up in the fall, the summer, the spring. You know, so recruiting almost don't ever stop.
Now let me say this, Coach, because I can't remember the coach that we had on. I want to say it was Tremaine Jackson, if I'm not mistaken. But he mentioned that because of the 105 expansion, there were really some really creative things that could be done in conjunction with the scholarship and the Pell Grant to cover the complete cost of attendance while only awarding maybe a partial scholarship or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I heard that incorrectly,
that's exactly correct. I mean, if you got a good football player that's an academic guy as well as a Pell Grant guy, what's a Pell Grant guy? A Pell Grant guy is a guy that they look at how much his family can give to him. You know what I mean? So then, you know, let's say a scholarship was $20 and he was a full Pell Grant guy, which he was going to get $5,000. And then he got $5,000 from his academic money, which is $10,000. Then that full scholarship that was worth $20,000, now he can only take the coach could take 10 and give it to that kid and then use that 10 to go get somebody else. Or it could be 5, or it could be 2, or it could be 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Because a kid also could take a loan out as well, you know, to either put that money in his pocket or help him with his academics. So it does spread the money out. You know, having a 105, it increases the talent level as well. Then now you're not locked in to just getting kids, 30 kids a year. You can switch the whole program out if you want, you know. But I know, you know, you still got the APR thing that's kind of working. You know, they kind of put that in the back burner, but I think it's a good deal.
So, Coach, I talked to a guy from Oklahoma State that's basically their GM and capologist, Mr. Wright, that works along with Mike Gundy. And I say capologist because he really says his team evaluates players and puts a value on each player. I say that to say this. With the framework that the SWAC has, is it in their best interest to hire a guy who is a GM who evaluates talent and puts a value on each player in position?
I don't. I think you could use the formula when it just comes to the money, but the coaches should be able to evaluate a kid and determine how valuable he is to his program. A coach should be able to see a kid. I mean, you can always, when you've been around the game, you could go out and see a kid if he got fat ankles, you know, if he's real tall, but he got narrow shoulders, you know, how much weight he gonna be able to put on. You know, if he got tight hips, if he can bend, is he slew-footed? You know what I mean? You know, you've seen these kids over and over again and develop, you know, and you can have some type of ideal of how a kid can look from the time you recruit him to the time that he matriculates and start hitting the field and moving on. You know, your weight program is important as well. So I think if you got that extra money, any inch that can help you win, coach, do it. But I really think that that's a position that, especially in the HBCU realm, that they can do without. Because one of the things too, we ain't got no money to give to them anyway. You know what I'm saying? So
but what I'm saying with having ability to award 105 scholarship, should they expand their scouting operation? Is all I'm saying.
Oh, well, that could be true because now you recruit year round, and there's guys out there we call them groundhogs that you can pay a little money to, that while your coaching staff is coaching during the spring, they out hunting. You know what I mean? And you got eyes everywhere. That has happened, but that's building relationships as well. Of recruiting at certain high schools and getting kids and bringing them in, and then the coach see how you can develop kids. Sometimes you ain't got to go. They'll call you.
Hey, coach, and before we get started on that, this is the last thing I want to mention, coach. Let me add that. We don't have to go into great detail. We're going to break all this down. But is there anything about this predicted finish that surprises you in the East Division?
Well, I think the Alabama State Florida A&M should be flopped. I think with I gotta stay with Andrew Body. He wealthy, and Florida A&M is actually going in with a new coach. I mean, a new quarterback. I like Sam Shade right there, and it would surprise me if he did something special. And I think that's the only thing I'm looking at is Alabama State and Florida A&M.
What about you, Mr. Campbell?
You might need to put them side by side. You know what I mean? Jackson State, Florida A&M / Alabama State. It's gonna come down to them three again.
Man, okay. Listen, this order is correct, like it's always been correct, other than when I know we had Jackson State is head and shoulders because, and I'll say this again, to win the SWAC championship, got at a quarterback. Right. On this list, well, I guess Alabama A&M was brought the guy coming up. But I'm talking about the only person on this list that knows who their quarterback is 100% is Jackson State. Point blank, period. So I think what they're looking at, what I did, or what I was impressed about, and again, we'll break this down. I saw their offense, they had an all SWAC first team tight end, the 2 wide receiver, the quarterback, but they didn't have as many all SWAC defensive guys, which I was on first team, which I said, okay, that might be opportunity. And I say they're not going to have good players, but they lost a lot of guys on that defense. They had a hell of a fight just like what we did. The thing about with us, hey, man, it's simple. Coach Cozy talked about it. He got 7 guys in there going to be a quarterback. Who's going to play quarterback? The great thing about it is we got a great home schedule. Everybody we got to beat, they got to come to Tallahassee. So as far as that, yeah, I think this lines up the way it's going to be. And again, Alabama, and Coach, this Alabama State, they've lost coaches, and they lost a lot of players in the transfer report off their defense. So I think that's going to hurt.
The only thing
they got a new defense coordinator and new secondary coach. I could buy that, but they got 2 outstanding quarterbacks. Of course, Andre Body is coming back, and then they got a transfer from Georgia Tech that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, the only thing that there's several things I'd like that I hope finishes different, and I'll mention one. I hope Alabama State wins, but if I had to pick, I'm definitely picking Jackson State. But I hope T-Buck finishes 4th in this in the East. I really would like him to finish 4th in the East. I think he could pick off Bethune-Cookman for sure, and I hope he can figure out a way to get to 4th, because I'm really rooting for the guy, to be honest with you.
Man, listen, if T-Buck get them boys to 4, first of all, let me see, this is what again, these are friends of the show. I'm Sam Shade and T-Buck, my guys. You know what I'm saying? That be, if I'm going his own, boy, T-Buck get them boy to 4, Sam Shade gonna be really mad. He gonna be really mad, and he gonna clean house. because of the guys he brought. So that's what's so great. You know what's so great? What you just said, and this is what's so great about how the SWAC is and how it's set up right now, and even on the West, what you're going to pull up. If that means we're going to have competitive games. We're going to have a lot of competitive games. And that's what I think. What I saw based off of just looking at how the conference breakdown, all SWAC team. Nobody, like Jack State a year ago, they were stacked on both sides, all conference. Year ago, we were stacked. We had offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year. You could start look and say, you could just start counting all conference. What's still doing them? They had all those all conference guys. This year, it was spread all over the conference. A couple of guys had a couple of guys here, a couple of guys there, things like that. So yeah, I think that Coach told us, hey, we better get ready to buckle up. That's their motto. We buckling up. So hey, let's get it.
All right, here's the West. To me, this is gonna be the highlight of the whole SWAC. This West. Again, not that the East has great teams as well, but I'm really looking forward to how this kind of unfolds. And me personally, I'll go first on this one. I think they put all these jokers in a bag and just start pulling them out. I don't know how they came up with this. And literally by the vote, Southern is the unanimous selection. So Coach, and I may have mentioned this to you. No, I mentioned this to Scotty when I was talking to Scotty. Are they trying to set Terrence Graves up here?
Wow.
What are they doing? With those kind of, the Southern fan base is gonna feed into this. The Southern fan base is gonna expect this finish. Will Terrence Graves be able to deliver? That's my question.
Coach, you want to go first or you want me to go?
Well, I can't say anything about Terrence Graves, so y'all go ahead.
Let me tell you the funniest thing about this thing right here, right? And your analogy about somebody get line on line one, boy. Line on them boys. I'm gonna tell you, talking about Phillips was hurt when they saw 3 and had all court in front of that man. There was nothing fun. The whole PV Nation had their face dropped. Now, here's the thing about with Southern, which to your point, Rocky, and everything. Because that is there, them Southern folks going to expect us to stay there. And I mean every game. Now, you talk about the hot seat where every game is going to matter. Well, here's the thing what this also says, that the West just is not as good as they thought they were. Because, we're improving on it. Because, again, look at Grambling. Do you understand, Coach, when is the last time you ever saw Grambling looking up with Texas Southern and Prairie View above them? I literally watched a Grambling guy on Lionel's show. Couldn't even defend the G right. This is the first time in history that the G is looking up to Texas Southern Prairie View. So that just lets you know, man, the West, they just don't have it. And like I say, Prairie View, I'm just telling you something. Y'all say y'all got them horses down there. Y'all say you got a quarterback. And last I checked, it's the same guy that was last year. We'll see. So again, but I want to know who Southern's quarterback's going to be. Is this going to be the freshman from last year? The kid from Georgia? Is that your quarterback? Southern guys tell me that because I haven't broke down the roster yet because I was going to look when they made them official. Alcorn second? Really? So, Rock, I'm like you. I think they just pulled them out and Southern came out first. And then everybody just fell behind. Because I'm going to be honest with you. If you move Southern out, you literally between, and I'm going to put Grambling in there. Grambling, Alcorn, you can flip those and nobody would be mad at it.
So Southern, if I'm correct, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, they barely beat Alcorn.
TSU.
Barely beat TSU.
Grambling.
Barely beat Grambling.
We said Texas Southern.
I think they beat Prairie View in overtime, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong on that, but I believe they beat them in overtime. And you got 12 coaches that voted them number 1 in the West. I just don't get it. Come on. I was at that. I was at
here's-
that game, Edwin. I was at that game. Y'all ran one play the whole game, and the game was decided in the fourth quarter. Come on now, let's be honest. I was at that game.
Let me say now. Let me just give some perspective to something. Let me pull this up because this is what I'm talking about. Hold on, let me share this.
Let me say this though.
Okay.
All 6 of these teams, it's like putting them in a throwing some dice and putting them in a cup and throwing it out, and whatever comes, like some things that what they call it, used to call that game Yahoo?
Yahtzee.
Hey, Rocky, that shares happening.
Hold on, you down at the bottom, Coach.
You guys,
I got it.
You guys know I'm gonna
Let me remove that from the stage. Let me add that.
What you putting down?
I just want to show how razor thin their margin was and everything. Because this is what. So they lost to McNeese. They beat Savannah State. They lost to Jackson State. They beat Prairie View in overtime. That was one of those games. That's the game that Bubba lost his job. They got blown out by Nichols. They beat Texas Southern. Well, we know what happened with that.
Rabbit's foot.
Right there. They won homecoming. Alcorn by 10. Came to Bragg, got blasted. Lost a close one to Alabama A&M. Won an overtime game with Bethune. Beat them and beat Grant. They literally won 3 overtime games that they were dead in the water and won those games. I'm just showing them what it is. Now I'm giving, good teams win those games, bad teams lose them. But let's not act like that this was like rolling folks, man. Come on. Listen to what I say, not hear what I said. I literally just said that. Good teams win those games, bad teams lose them. But what I'm saying is based off of, if you compare their schedule to Jackson's schedule last year when they were rolling people, FAMU schedule when they was rolling people, that's what I'm talking about. You can tell the difference. When you guys, and all you guys, when you guys were rolling people, there's a difference. So I'm just saying there were games that Prairie View thought they were going to win that game. Texas Southern had the game won.
So let me, can you scroll down? Is the SWAC championship on this schedule?
Oh, yeah, it's on there.
Can you scroll it down and show that? Because I think that is important right there.
That was 13-41.
Yeah. And again, that was telling to what Southern was as a team last year. You can tell me about how good y'all played in the first half and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, the second string quarterback for Jackson State ran through y'all like Swiss cheese. The kid didn't even play in the Celebration Bowl, and he ran through Southern like they was Swiss cheese.
Hey, Johnny T said he didn't know in football it was required to win by a certain number of points.
But I tell you what is required, you know what a dominant team is. That's what my point is.
And my point is, look at can anybody explain to me what Southern has done in the transfer portal and recruiting that's been so impactful that warrants them being a repeat champ in the West? I don't get it.
Well, see, right, this go have a point. What this also says is what the other team in the West have not done, maybe. Have you ever thought about that?
Well, how can that be the situation when Tremaine has the number one, or is it the number 2?
No, he's got the number 1 recruiting class in the SWAC.
In the SWAC, but
I think he got the number 1 maybe in all FCS. Or number 2.
He's got a top recruiting class in the FCS, and we know what that historically meant. Jackson State had that last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a caller, 8182. You're live on HBCU Coaches Corner. Hey, you calling from the 504? Tread lightly.
Here go the Southern folks. Bring it in.
Nah. Y'all need to stop.
Here you go.
Y'all need to stop. Cause y'all know who this is right here.
Yeah. We know.
Yeah.
And y'all need to stop.
Coach
Y'all need to
Green,
stop.
just tell me
Because-
why Southern is going to repeat as West champs.
Did we not win the West last year?
Coach, so that's how this works, Coach. You won last year, so you're going to win this year. That's how it works in the SWAC.
As I recall, I remember Coach Cole and all the rest of you saying, "Oh, we not winning the SWAC. We not winning the West." And what we did, we won the West.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, with a monkey toe, a rabbit's foot, a spider skin,
It don't matter.
and-
It don't matter.
and-
It don't matter. What did Mr. Campbell say? What did he say about the win?
They all count. They all
A
count.
good-
And she
So-
I
Good team.
don't know what I'm
So,
giving.
Coach
Let me
Green.
get my quote.
So,
Good
Coach
teams,
Green,
good
you-
teams win those games. Bad
Mhm.
teams lose. So I'm not saying that you got one of the good team.
There you go.
I said that.
So, Coach
And
Green,
then y'all also, and then you before you go, and then you're gonna bring up what happened in the Jackson State game. And y'all forget Woods didn't play that game because he was out with a concussion. Because he showed he was the best quarterback at the bunch. Woods showed that.
Coach, y'all didn't have a quarterback that finished in the top 10 in any stat in the SWAC.
Woods
No.
Woods was the last one to play. Of course, he ain't gonna have the stats. He only played a few games.
This is the same
Well,
Coach Green
how
that
can-
he said was going to light it up.
Coach,
too, though.
Coach Green, come on, man. How can you, I'm gonna take the coach off your first name. How can you tell us that a kid that ain't hardly played all year is gonna come into the SWAC championship game in the best team in the country, and what was the score, 41-13,
Yeah.
and make almost a
Did you
30-point difference? Come
I'm gonna
on,
ask-
man.
I'm gonna ask you, Coach Cole. Did you watch the game?
Come on, yeah. You know
Did
we
you
had,
watch the
we
whole
had-
game?
Yes,
Did you watch it?
yes. The whole game.
Before the quarterback change, what that game was looking like?
Well, it was even. Yet both teams were sparring. It was close first because I think that my man had to adjust. I think I'm not going to say
And Morgan-
immaturity because that's the
and-
wrong word. I think coach had to adjust and say, look, it's more important that we win the game than we look good of throwing the ball. When they put that ball on the ground, it was no contest.
Coach,
Period.
they outscored you. They outscored
No,
you.
no.
You know that.
31
Yeah,
in the
I
second
watched the
half.
game. Did you watch
Stop
the
it,
game?
stop it.
Jackson State came
Hold
out
up.
and was
Yes, I
throwing the
did
football.
watch the game. I did watch the game.
They came out throwing
The
the
biggest
football.
difference was.
Go ahead.
So you saying if Morgan would have finished that game? The score still been the same?
Well, the object of the game is because they were great on defense. We said all along Jackson State was great on defense and had a run game. So him getting put out shouldn't have surprised nobody because that's how weak Southern was offensively.
Mm-hmm.
They struggled all year. Look at the numbers.
We did, but we did get better with our run game as the season went on. We did get better with that, but we was inconsistent because we switched quarterbacks a lot. I know that much. But they stuck to Woods, and Woods won the Celebration Bowl. I mean, not the Celebration Bowl, won the Bayou Classic.
Yeah, y'all
Actually looked
beat
good in the Bayou Classic, and
Grambling.
he was hitting the tight ends, and he was hitting the tight ends. One of the things that our offensive coordinator said was we used our tight ends more, and he was hitting the tight ends. So all I'm saying is it's a possibility the game could have been different if Woods would have played.
Well, let me say this. I said last year I wasn't a believer in Terrence Graves and the staff. He proved me wrong. I wanted him to come on the show so that I could personally tell him, Coach, you proved me wrong, and congratulate him on winning the SWAC West, because they definitely did that, right? But Green, how you won the SWAC West matters. How you
No, it don't. No,
No.
Who won? Who won it?
No. Hold on.
What?
Let me say something. Let me just back up. Did you
Okay.
beat a team with a winning record?
Yes.
Which one?
Who?
Yes.
Hey, show him.
Alcorn had a winning record.
Show him the list. He might need to see the list again.
Alcorn
Alcorn,
6-5.
We beat everybody in the West. We was the best team in the West. No matter how you put it, we was the best team in the West. You could talk about all that nonsense all you want, but we was the best team in the West.
And you see how you said that. You said you was the best team in the West with no winning seasons, right? But I get criticized because I said he done a great job, and with under the circumstances that he's the best of the worst.
Okay.
And now you're saying the same thing.
You could do the gymnastics and stuff all you want.
No,
At the
Mr.
end of the
Green,
day,
Coach Green.
It's about wins. It's about wins and losses.
Coach Green,
You
we
get
don't want
paid
to
for
take
wins and losses. You get fired when you lose, right? Don't you get fired when you lose?
Coach Green, we don't want to take anything away from Southern, those athletes, and Coach Graves and his coaching staff. We don't want to take anything away from them, Coach. And they won last year. That's what I'm saying. They won last year.
Exactly.
All right. Coming into this
It's the best
year,
team in the West.
coming into this year, what have they done to what have they done as a coaching staff or from a personnel standpoint that has you believing that they're going to win again this year? That's what I asked you. And you said we won last year.
I'm gonna tell
You don't get any wins. None of those wins last year gonna count, Coach.
Year, right?
None of those wins last year gonna count.
That's last year. That's last year. Of course, that's last year. We won last year. That's over with. It's a new year. Everything is new. We're gonna find out in the SWAC Challenge what type of team we had. And the next game, you're gonna find out what type of team you had. Everything is a game by game thing.
Coach Green,
I feel good about the recruiting class. I saw a recruiting class.
Green, you made a great
and everything.
Coach Cole is asking you a question.
You're making a great point.
Go ahead.
This open game will tell what they have done on the offseason. You're absolutely correct. It's going to tell because they play in one of the best black college programs in the last 5 years in North Carolina Central, and we'll see where they are.
What do you expect in that game?
If it's a 41-10,
I'm gonna put it like this. We're gonna find out because the class as far as our trenches, because we took care of the meat and potatoes as part of the recruiting class. And we're gonna see how they perform when they get out there.
What do you expect, Coach?
Class that I'm looking for us to compete for the championship again.
No, I'm talking about on August 23rd. My face will be in the place. If you there, come holler at me. But what are you expecting Southern to do on that day against Trey Oliver and North Carolina Central? What are you expecting?
I expect us to compete to try to win that game.
God damn, you're getting on the bus. That's all you saying. I expect them to get on the bus and go to Atlanta. Is that all you expecting?
Because no, this is my thing. I'm not in their practices, right? I don't know what's going on in their practice, so I can't really say. I know what's going on in our practice because I'm there. But they practice, I don't know what's going on in their practice.
Wait, Coach, you ain't called down there to find out. You ain't called down there to find out what's going on.
Hey, Coach Cole.
I'm way in Florida now. I'm in Florida now.
Coach Cole.
I'm way in Florida. It's hard to.
Coach Cole, you're gonna have to get Trey Oliver on here so Coach Green can be told what they doing in North Carolina, so that he can know what they doing in Raleigh. He want to know what they doing in Raleigh, so he'll know what Southern gonna do. Cause I don't know what's happening in Raleigh got to do with what Southern gonna do.
No, I ain't talking about Raleigh. I'm telling you, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on in their practice, but all I'm saying is, I like their recruiting class. I feel like we got a good chance to win the game. That's all I'm saying. On paper, we look good, but everything will be judged once we step on that field, and we're gonna see what
paper you looking at? There's questions all up. There's questions at quarterback. There's a question there.
The quarterback, Jalen Woods. Jalen Woods is the starting quarterback right now. It's his job to lose. Coach and Coach Graves say that it's his job to lose. He going into camp as a starter, and his job is to keep it. I know the type of running backs we signed. We signed some solid running backs.
Are y'all gonna be better or worse at wide receiver?
I feel like we're gonna be better at wide receiver. We signed some solid wide receivers.
Better than the receivers y'all had the last 2 years. Y'all gonna have better receivers than that.
Yeah, we're gonna be good this year. And the most important thing, the trenches. The trenches, I like what we signed as far as the trenches. We are bigger than what we was this past year in the trenches, what we signed on both sides.
Big ain't never been y'all problem. Blocking has.
No, we wasn't. I'm talking about on the defensive side. We wasn't that big on the defensive side, but we bigger now in the trenches.
If all your guys play, if all those guys play like Kelby Givens, I don't care what size they are, they'll be all right.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's
wait a minute before you let it go. Hold on, wait a minute. Coach Green, you still there?
Good.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, let's cut this, because when we were going into our year, our Celebration Bowl year, we knew we had a team to win a championship. Jack State, them 3 years that they've been to Celebration Bowl, they knew going into there that they were going to have a championship. So I don't want to hear what you say. So I'm going to ask you this question, point blank, period. Is this team a team that's going to win the SWAC based off of what you see?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I said, okay, yeah. We're gonna break down, because I looked at that recruiting class. I just want to see, because y'all signed a bunch of high school players and a bunch of junior college guys. But we're gonna break that down when we break this down. Yep. So yeah, I want you to stand on that, because if you had to mess that question up, then I was gonna hang up on you.
I'm standing on it. Standing on it. I like the class we signed. You know, there were some productive JUCO players.
Yeah, that's what you got. You signed a bunch of JUCO
high school players.
And one of the things,
and they were productive.
One of the things you do too, Coach Green, is that Coach Graves, he actually now has his teeth in. These are his guys now. So that should be important as well. Okay.
That should be.
Well, man, we'll be in touch with you. Stay in touch with us.
But I don't remember this, because y'all do that again, and we went up winning. I would love to hear y'all excuse.
Oh, well, listen. You know what's so arrogant about that statement? Let me tell you something. Them 3 games that y'all won in overtime, it was a coin flip. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna give it to you because you won it, but don't act like you were confident, because you weren't. Because if you were watching those games, there was no way you were like, we're winning this game.
And then,
all I'm saying is, did I not? When y'all said we wasn't gonna win, but when y'all said we wasn't gonna win, did I not say we were gonna win?
You said you were gonna be FAMU. You said you were gonna be FAMU.
And then get beat 51-7.
I did. I was wrong. I was wrong.
Man, that's easy. Everybody gonna say that.
I was wrong.
Hey, do you have an idea?
I was right about the SWAC championship.
Coach Green, do you have an idea what's gonna happen on September 27th at Mumford Stadium?
At Mumford Stadium?
Yeah.
A win.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Jackson State, y'all hear that?
Hey, it's a win in Mumford. It's a win in Mumford.
I got it. All right. You heard it here first on HBCU Coaches Corner.
Tell him to take his sunglasses off.
Hey, thank you, Coach Green, for calling. Hey, Coach Green, confident. Hey, them Southern guys, I got to give them credit. Hey, they got belief in Southern.
But you know what? But no, they should. But they should, because it's Southern. And that's why I love Southern people. But what is funny, though, but here's the thing. As they say, as you like to say, that boogeyman lives up there up I-55. And until they beat that boogeyman, it don't matter. They see, like I say, like people, they know what I'm talking about. That Grambling game, yeah. But they keep losing Jack State like they keep losing, like they have been losing. And FAMU's a secondary loss that they get upset about. We'll see. Because the bottom line is, man, all that's good. But as they say, as I call it, the Deion era, and in the Celebration Bowl era. They have never been to the Celebration Bowl.
So let me say something. Let's just add some context. I've only been watching the SWAC for 5 years. I think Southern has played in those 6 years. Southern has played Jackson State 7 times in those 5 years, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And the only game that Southern won was when Skelton was the quarterback in the spring of 2021.
That's correct.
All the rest of the games that they've played, I want to say 6 in a row now. Southern has lost. So again, I don't know how typical this is for Southern and Jackson State, but I'm with you. That Southern gonna have to figure out something against Jackson State, or this rivalry is gonna be over pretty quick.
But you know what though, Rocky? I'm gonna be honest with you, and Coach knows this. It goes in spurts like this. It's never been I win, you win, I win, you win. It's really gone. Somebody rips off 8, 9 in a row. Somebody rips off 6, 7 in a row. So it's kind of funny that this kind of over the last, I want to say, probably 40 years, right, Coach? It's always been somebody goes on a run. Because I think, and some people can answer this, I think, what did y'all beat Jackson State 8 years in a row before Deion got there? I think it was like 8 years in a row.
In the 80s, Jackson State, then Grambling came back, then Southern took over in the 90s. Up to the 2000s. Then Alcorn took over for a little bit. Yeah, it's once school get it get about a 3 or 4 year roll.
Yeah. So it's a huge rivalry, but it's never been one of those ones where you like every year somebody.
So you on this one you can't just throw out the records.
No, not even close. Usually it is very rare the best team does not win that game. It is very. Okay. I mean, I'm trying to think of when it's really been an upset. Going back, it's usually the best team has won that game.
So you say so there's no chance that Jackson State will replicate what happened in the hole last year. When Jackson State no. When Jackson State went down to the hole last year and lost to Grambling. That usually don't happen.
Let me say this. And I haven't the thing about what Jackson State, I think they're gonna hang their hat on. Offense, like I told you, they got 6 guys all SWAC first team. So, and I'm talking about their whole wide receiver core is first team. They got a first team quarterback. So offense, I think they feel they're going to be cooking. The question is what's going to be on defense. So I haven't looked at their defense yet. I haven't watched my boys Kenny. I haven't talked to Zoe yet. So I don't know. But again, I know they're replacing a lot of starters. And no matter what, when you're replacing a lot of starters, you don't know what you got on defense. That's just a fact. So I don't know. So the question would be, because I'm going to tell you this, who does Jackson State play first? So what I'm going to be curious to see is what their defense is, because they're going to score points in bunches.
Well, Jackson State will have a really good measuring stick as to how they match up against Southern because they played them, like I say, they play them on the 27th of September.
Well, the crazy thing about it is just no explosive offenses but Jackson State. What offense out of the 12 teams besides if you move Jackson State that's explosive? It ain't none. Everybody don't have a major quarterback but Jackson State. Everybody switch quarterbacks like they switch tailbacks. And I'm gonna say as a coach, that has something to do with continuity of how your offense moves. You can't, you can do it, but you ain't gonna be successful. You can't rotate quarterbacks like that and be successful. I don't know too many teams that can do that or have done that and was successful.
And Coach, hold on, I want to make one point. It's not over rotating coach, but quarterbacks that actually help that are inexperienced. How many people are going to win with inexperienced coaches? Not even a rotate, just the inexperience of the fact.
Yeah. So that's going to be a problem. That's going to be an issue.
I'm honestly going to depend on Cozy to get the SWAC lick back on October the 11th because I don't see how Southern can stand up. I don't see Southern having a chance in that game against North Carolina Central, to be honest with
you. I think, and I guess I'll speak for myself about Southern University, and I think we all saying the same thing. They just didn't show us any dominancy. every week it was a struggle, no matter if the team was good. I mean, well, if the team was good, like the school out of San Antonio, they beat them real bad. If the school was bad, they struggled. They never just walked in and said, we Southern and we gonna win the game. You know what I mean? Both offensively and defensively in the kicking game. It always came down to some turnover, some missed kick, some block kick. You know what I mean? So, hey, that's the only thing that we're saying. And so if we trying to pick and choose, you know, who's number one, I don't know that somebody would say, I feel good about Florida A&M, that they on any Saturday they could beat somebody. I feel the same way about Alabama A&M. If they were on the west side, I would put them at number one because they consistent. You know what I mean? Of course, Jackson State. I think with Sam Shade coming in the league, I know one thing about Sam Shade. He's going to have a great running game, and he's going to play solid defense. I know that for a fact. You know what I mean? When you look at on the only thing I can go on the west side that I would put my money on, of course, is Prairie View and Tremaine Jackson. He's a national championship coach. He knows what he's doing. Everywhere he's been, he's won there. He knows the conference. When you look at his roster, he brought 8 guys from a national championship team, you know what I mean, along with some of his coaching staff. And I know you guys got to get ready. He ain't going to build his team off of high school. He's going to build his team off of experienced kids. And one thing I know about him personally is that he can hunt. He can hunt. He can go find them. And his team going to be disciplined. And he just got to settle in on a quarterback. And it's gonna be tough on everybody over there.
But Coach, let me ask you a question there, Coach. With that being said, they still had him picked behind Alcorn. Let's give Southern that do. But so we'll leave Southern out of it because Southern has shown that they can win. But they still, and I'm talking about by a wide margin that they will pick third behind Alcorn. Now, why do you think that is?
Yeah. Well, you know, I think some egos got in the way. You know, Tremaine talking out of he talking a lot of stuff. You know, so I think that got in the way.
Woo, boy, them Jack State folks are hot. Hey, Coach, let me add a little context to that. So he made a statement about the videos that Prairie View was doing and that they had the best video staff and nobody in the conference. And I saw Jack State people, and I know the FAMU people were like, excuse me? We don't want awards for our videos and social media. So it was kind of funny that Coach said that they started this thing when folks was kind of doing that before he even got anywhere close to this. But I don't know. That might be a Prairie View thing where they don't understand that Texas is just Texas. The rest of us do social media very well also. But we got to
I tell you, man, that east side, I ain't ready to make no prediction.
No.
I got to read some more literature. You know, if I was making one tonight, you know, I got to go with what I know on that west side.
I tell you, if we would have got that kid from Kent State, that all-conference player from Kent State, this would have been a different conversation. Because he would have probably been the best quarterback. Because I mean, he played at the FBS level. He was all-conference player. That would have been interesting. That would have been interesting.
So, like I say, I just don't make sense of this. You know, Southern. You know, I don't want to keep beating it over the head, but I understand what Coach is saying about Prairie View. They don't want to buy into the bravado. They don't want to feed into the momentum that Prairie View has built. And I get it. But you really put 2 coaches, I think, on a hot seat by putting Terrence Graves as the predicted winner and Coach Thomas as the runner-up. I think you put those guys on the hot seat. That's my last statement I'm gonna make before we get out of here. But what do you guys think? Am I wrong in saying that those guys got put on a hot seat by being ranked up so high?
I think the hottest seat is not Terrence Graves. I think that hottest seat is Coach Thomas down at Alcorn. And I think that seat, because let me tell you something. See, this is what happens when certain people roll off your schedule, certain people don't. They come into FAMU for homecoming. They got to play Jackson State. I'm sorry. You ain't getting no W's on them 2. So that's 2 gone right there. So now you got to make sure because when you lose those games over on your cross, you got to win every game on your other side. So that means they're going to have to run the table for them to win the conference. Because they're getting 2 on the flip with Jack State and FAMU. I'm telling you that right now. So
I say this, Coach. I believe that Terrence Graves got to win. First of all, not necessarily he on the hot seat, that he's coaching Southern University. You know what I mean? And there, at the time when he was selected, there was some people against it. Nothing personal. I think he has to win to stay there. Coach at Alcorn State, you know, he has to do better. You know what I mean? He can't come at the bottom, you know, but I think they will still give him a one more year. I think Pine Bluff, I think he's on the hot seat. I don't think he can finish last again and stand. I mean, but he coming in his 3rd year, right? And 2 of the 3 years he was at the bottom. So Rocky, get ready to get your caravan or your merry-go-round of these coaches. You know, we might lose 2 or 3 next year.
Wow.
If they don't win.
I'm gonna put it out here right now. Unfortunately, based off of the schedule, there will be 4 coaches that will not have their job next year.
Yeah.
And this is just going. So you can kind of look, because a lot of these schools are going to see progress. And I tell you that if you have a bad loss, that's really going to get people fired up.
You know, and you know, of course, we want to make it clear that this ain't our wish, you know,
No.
And we're not wishing. We're just talking facts. I mean, you know, Coach Joseph is coming up on his last year of his contract. You know what I'm saying? And I think in that contract, he had to finish 8-3. So you know, you're going to be watching that closely. So, you know, the only thing is it looks like on the east side, a lot of it is solid besides the Bethune-Cookman, losing to Clark last year, coming last again last year. He coming up on his 3rd year. You know what I'm saying? That might be you know, he's got to do better. I mean, you know, just as a coach, you know, your year 3, everywhere I've been, year 3 was the year. Not saying year 4 couldn't. You got to make progress on year 3. And I'm not saying, oh, you go from winning 1 game to 2 games to 3 games. I'm saying you're going from a losing season to a winning season, like a 6-5 or a 7-4. That's what you got to look for these teams at the bottom. If not, you're gonna be it'll be the caravan tree again that we're gonna be getting new coaches in.
Yeah, like I say, I want Coach Graves to come on HBCU Coaches Corner and explain to us how he was able to be so successful last year playing all those close games. And I want him to come on and explain to us why we should believe that Southern University can win the SWAC championship next year. I would love for him to come on and do it. I know he's, you know, he's got a little issue.
We're gonna reach out though, Coach. We're gonna reach out.
I mean, because he, Coach, to be honest with you, he worked a miracle last year. When you look at what he did, Coach, he made
all the right coaching decisions.
He had subpar quarterback play last year. Probably his quarterback play was bottom 3 schools in the conference. His quarterback play, and somehow he was able to pull out a championship, a East title. A West title. That's remarkable. That's remarkable. And he and his coaching staff should be extremely proud of what they did.
Exactly. Ain't no question.
No, I think that, you know, again, you can't take anything away from them. They won. They goes back to my point. If you beat the teams you're supposed to beat, that'll get you into the championship. That's just point blank. They did that. Then it didn't matter if they lost to FAMU. Didn't matter. Didn't matter if they lost to McNeese or whatever. Didn't matter. They beat Prairie View. They beat Alcorn. They beat Grambling.
And shouldn't worry about us whether we like it or not. It's the people that pays his check, whether they like it or not. You know what I mean? I mean, we're just analysts and analyzing the games, that all the games were close and he won 3 overtime games. That's abnormal in this game. That don't happen every year in our conference, that you win 3 overtime games.
Yeah.
You know, that's big.
Let's be clear, the game, and let's be clear, all 3 of those games, they were down. Not that the team came back tied and then they went. They were down all 3 of those games.
Yeah.
So credit to them. I mean, like I say, good teams win, bad teams lose them.
Yeah. And
well, we all good, Coach.
All right. Hey, guys, man, we done had another great show. We got started a little earlier. We'll all get together and set a date to come back, man. We came back today to really have a conversation with Coach Morgan. He wasn't able to make it, but we certainly appreciate you guys for hanging in there with us tonight. Like always, man, I want to thank Coach Cole for coming on, and Mr. Campbell, man, y'all did it on very short notice, and I want to thank you. And I'll let y'all go ahead and have last word.
Hey, Rocky. Oh, Rocky jumped off.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, I was make sure. Now, when we switched channels tonight, what was that? We switched from his channel to your channel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were able to keep a consistent audience, even on my channel. I just wanted to, try that. We're gonna be on our script, but like I say, we also want to grow our channel as well. So I'd like to encourage everyone to please like and subscribe to this channel as well. We're gonna continue broadcast on off script, but I also wanted to continue and grow this channel because we got some things coming in the future that we want you guys to be a part of. And so definitely make sure that you like and subscribe this channel as well.
Yeah. I appreciate everybody for coming out tonight. It was special Thursday night. We had to take a break this summer. I think we're putting some things together in another 2 weeks, and then so we can start going full throttle, man. Our show is can't go without you guys watching it, and make sure you subscribe it. Make sure you get with your friends and tell them to subscribe to our show. We're looking for the numbers. We will read off the numbers of what our last year numbers were, and they'll be surprised. We will pleased with them, and we got them good numbers because of your support. Thank you, and see you.
There it is.
Go ahead, Campbell.
Well, I just want to say something to my Southern people. First of all, we appreciate you all. And like I said, a little bit of it is a teaser, but Southern's a great program. And I'll say this, we need the blue blood teams to be good. I want Southern to be good. I want Graham to be good. I want Jack State to be good. I want FAMU. And then we need those teams to grow, like when you bring in a Coach Jackson, bring Prairie View up. We got E-Rob down there at Alabama and my boy T-Buck. Because the conference, when it's good from top to bottom, that makes great football. So what we want to see every game that's ever played, that we want to see great football. So that's really what I care about. So Southern, hey, it's no shade to you guys. Like I said, you guys were champions in the West. They got you picked the champions again. What I will challenge you on is now to make that next step and get to the Celebration Bowl, because that's what it's all about. So I appreciate, again, everybody coming in on this special thing. And, hey, man, we got a lot of really good things coming on. And what I really think what we're going to do is we're going to be bringing some of your own people coming on, breaking down your team. Not just us. We're going to have the people that preach to the choir coming on. So look for that also.
And always women, man, in tough times. Tie a knot, hang on. If you feel yourself at the end of the rope, tie a knot and hang on tight, because ain't nobody bad like you.